Welcome back to Tran Plays Silk, Wilderness Adventures on the Ancient Silk Road. One of the issues you have with a very general name like this is when you search for something like this, like you search Silk, you get a bunch of other hits. One of the suggestions I have often when I communicate with developers is do add more to your title so that it makes it easier to find. There's music videos. In fact, when I search for Silk, I get bosses from the Dark Soul or Elden Ring games, I guess. I haven't played those. It's one of those. Although there are 4 destinies that you can pick from, they're not actually in order from easiest to most difficult. Yes, the first one is the beginner challenge. This one, the second one's actually the hardest challenge, and that's not because it's I don't know how to do it. No, actually, the way these guys are ordered are in geographical proximity. So the very first one is Rome. They will start in the west. The hardest challenge, the second one, starts at the Parthian Empire. That's in the left side near Rome. If you were to order your factions from left to right, it'd be Rome, the Parthian Empire, the Kushans, which is the third guy right here, then the Han, and then finally you have the fifth one, which are nomads. So this is in order of geographical proximity. I understand why they did it that way, but I think a person playing the game is just going to go from left to right. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to successfully crush these challenges, because there is an achievement for each one called Mastery. And to get full Mastery, you have to accomplish each deadline, or you lose maybe like 10% off your score. For the very first one, you're going to be a Roman merchant. And I would recommend, because of the way experience works in the game, going with anybody with excellent trade. Having something in animals will also be useful if you are ever doing auctions, which is the cattle market section of each city. So this looks fine. Excellent trade, fair animals, and good with rituals. Excellent is way better than very good, only in that it costs so much more to level up. Each time you see has gained experience, that's just 1. To get fair, you just need 1 experience. To get to good, I think you need something like 4. And you will probably end the game somewhere between excellent and superior. Very unlikely you will reach level 6, which is incredible. And then there's epic and legendary after that. The second person we'll find is, this is randomized. So the first one's the Roman merchant. The second one could be any one of these. Roman Right Giver is actually a pretty solid religious figure, but I like the Han Mushi much better. Let's see, we have a Parthian Pathfinder. What I'm really looking for is maybe a Roman herder or drover. I'm going to hit escape. We can see that I'm back to the previous panel. All of these characters will be the exact same unless I hit escape again. If I hit escape again, I will re-roll these 4. So we'll go and pick Longina and see if we can find a person of the correct ethnicity. We have Guide, Nomad Herder. We need someone from Rome because they will receive better deals. Even though there's not much difference in the skills a person can have, like a Roman drover will have similar skill sets to a Nomad Herder, the person from Rome, when they're dealing with horses and camels in Rome, will get a much better deal. So she's not excellent, but she is the right ethnicity, so we're going to go with that. You do have to open up your roster with space where you're allowed to move and follow the tutorial at the bottom of the screen. That's fine. So this is our companion, Arian Rod. And this is our leader, Longina. You'll note that below our quest it says acquire 200 wool from Roman settlements. That is your mastery objective. You accomplish every single one of these before the time runs out, and you get your 100%. However, the game does not really reward you for completing these objectives earlier. And your days are essentially your currency. It's your resource that you're using, your time. So if you spend, it's like I can go right to this first city and buy wool right away and then complete that objective. But if I do that, I'm essentially have subtracted 3 days from my overall time to complete the achievement. So that's something to think about. Go ahead on in. You'll note at the bottom right, there was a little coin. It has saved since I entered the Caravanserai. The game does not save when you generate your character, so if you're really happy with your characters, yeah, definitely hop on to the Caravanserai before doing anything else. However, It's important to note that it doesn't save once I have opened up the caravanserai, just when I arrive there. So I can see that there's a party in Mobad. This is not somebody you would want for the traveler. Kushan Rightgiver, he's okay. He's a better choice for us. So these are both religious figures. Han Merchant, we already are a merchant. We don't need that. We have a Han Soldier. That's okay. It's not that important to us. Kushan Pathfinder, we don't currently have a Pathfinder, and her Wayfarer is superior. That's pretty good. But I'm looking for a Han Mushi more than anything else. Still, I'm really tempted by this superior Wayfarer. But I think we're going to go ahead and that's fine. We'll go ahead and go with it. What I was going to show you is that I can actually just drop to the main menu and then enter the caravanserai. Actually, we'll go and show this once. It's fine. I'm half sold on this. I probably won't find a better character than this on recording. So we're going to go ahead and escape, go to controls, quit, continue that save. And remember that they saved when we entered the tile, not when we opened the caravanserai. So we can actually try to roll for a different hero or advisor to join us. But that being said, you don't need to do that to get your 100% mastery. I am just demonstrating it, and I probably won't find anybody better than Superior Wayfarer. Alright, let's see who we got this time. We have a Roman Legionnaire. Warriors are good if you hire them specifically from the ethnicity you are attacking. So if I was attacking Rome, I should get a Roman Legionnaire. This is so that they can recruit the defeated. Kushan Trader, he would be good if we, first off, weren't already a merchant, because we could buy spices and silk about an equal measure. Still, Kushan is not one of the ones I'd go for, neither would be Parthenian. I would say, as far as merchants go, you should aim for a Han merchant as well. Yeah, we didn't find anybody that I really wanted out of this group, so we'll just pick up... Actually, we won't pick up anybody. Well, maybe the Nomad Guide might work. But we'll just hold off. And the reason for that is the next quest objective is to hire 4 advisors.
The Romans had preferred Antioch as their eastern capital to Alexandria, which was inconveniently positioned. Despite frequent earthquakes, they had tried to make the great city into the Rome of the East.
Now, I don't know if it's random or truly random or not, but generally I find that the first time I approached for a sales in the marketplace, the prices are the best. Maybe that's like the best roll. Maybe that takes into account your skill. I don't know, but if you wish to, you can actually hit escape, and I'll probably end up with something worse than 5. But hit escape now, and you can try rebargaining this. If you have not seen the game already, the advisors are your multiple choices for the game. And I think that this increases my interest in the game by so much. The game's trading or military aspects are not that deep, but the advisors are really awesome. I really like that. And it's apparently based off of another kind of gameplay. I think it's not Lords of Midnight. That's what supposedly the turning and stuff is from. I'll look at it and I'll put a caption on the screen what the game this is supposed to represent from the advisors, or where that was taken from as inspiration. All right, so I ended up finding a better deal. My 1 silver can get 7 wool. When we first arrived, you could say that my 1 silver was worth 5 wool. So you can always hit escape and try to get a better deal. I would generally pick the best out of 3. Not that you can ever go back. So if you found like a 6, and then you found a 5 and a 5. Although those are 3 tries right there, if you found a 3rd price and that happened to be a 4, then the next time you see a 6, you should just go ahead and accept it. So I have 3 variances, I would say. Now, if I do get more than, say, 200 wool, we will complete this quest. If I wanted to leverage those final 2 or 3 days, I would just buy 194 wool and run south to buy a lot more. However, Antioch carries so much more wool than we can find in the south. So it's actually more advantageous to us to just go ahead and buy up this. When we get to the Han Empire, we'd want roughly 600 wool at least. So we're going to want more than that. Plus, we will be using up some of the wool along the way. So let's go ahead and just buy 69 silver worth of wool, because if we spend the 70th silver coin, we are basically shorted 3 wool. Caravan gained experience in trade. That's the second message right there. That's how that is your reward for completing a quest. But But the game doesn't actually give you that. Don't know why, but it doesn't actually do that. Remember, it takes you 1 experience point to level up. And if this person here, if my second person didn't have trade, they would actually have the trade rated at fair as a result of this. Let's see here, we want some provisions. 20 is not that good of a price. Let's see if we can roll again for another one. Since we are Roman, we should be able to get a slightly better deal than if we were to go somewhere else with this money. 25 is marginally better. So let's go ahead and buy 30 silver worth of this, because I've already tried racing all the way to the Han Empire, and 10 silver will get us there. But I'm looking to hire a few more advisors and maybe a few more guards, just so I can benefit from a few other things along the way. So 30 silver should really help us get to the Han Empire. Remember that since we are Roman, we are getting better deals here than in other places. In addition to that, you also have your reputation. We are very friendly with the Romans, so again, that is added to our sales. The Parthians are hostile to us at the moment, so some of their castles and towns will send out soldiers to us. Every town has its own rating, so the ones nearest us, although I can't have a mouse cursor right now, the ones nearest us will probably be neutral, and the ones that are fortresses further away inside the Parthian Empire would be downright hostile. So we're going to go ahead and just run to the left. We're going to ignore these guys here that we could hire, but I will go ahead and gain just a little bit more experience by maybe buying some more provisions. I don't think I can hire a guard, right? Yeah, I can't hire a guard till we have a soldier. We'll go ahead and have it on her. Now, the one on the left is actually our merchant, and I would like for her to get the experience. However, it's not a bad idea to have your animal person or set a backup character have trade skill, because when you are carrying many kinds of goods, since this also serves as your multiple choice, you don't always get the choice you want by your best trader. For example, if I'm carrying silk, and I'm going to head to Roman lands, I want to hold on to that silk. Well, it might be that your person with the highest trade skill says, hey, let's sell our silk for some silver, we'll get a lot of money out of it. Well, you'd get more money if you held on to the silk a little longer. However, for the time being, let's go ahead and trade this wool, because we do have a lot of it. 15 is fine. I'm not going to squabble over every penny here, especially while recording. So now we're going to head to the west. Remember that our goal is eventually to head east. However, there are some good ports down here that we'll get to. Now, the reason why I did not hire more advisors is because we have something like 14 days. We have 2 weeks to hire those advisors. And remember, if I did that right now, I'd have essentially shortchanged myself 17 days of adventuring because of the 14 on top of the 3 from the wool. So if we did that, we would have a little bit more trouble in the game, but it's not necessary to squeeze out every day. Okay, this is the worst of it in the game, and it's the first one we get, of course. The storm takes a percentage of all of your things aside from silver. It takes a percentage of your animals, it takes a percentage of your goods, it takes a percentage of your provisions. Your characters can use their respective skill. For example, my drover can try to protect the animals, my merchant can try to protect my wool. I'm going to go ahead and protect my wool at this time because I only have 2 horses and 2 camels. But yeah, this is the worst event in the game, and I would prefer if they just got rid of it. But that being said, I don't really think the developer is gonna have any interest in doing that. It is you suffer so many less losses attacking at a 600-man army than you do from storm. Literally, you suffer less losses from that. That's how bad storms are. Okay, we have another Han soldier. I like the Han soldier only because he looks cool. Kushan trader, we don't need another merchant. We don't need any of that. So nobody here really strikes my fancy. So we're just going to go and raise up our trade skill again. Yeah, I lost 12 wool from that storm, and we just started the game.
The port of Laodicea was one of 4 Roman colonies in coastal Phoenicia and had been made its capital by Emperor Severus, who fortified the city and made it exempt from Roman taxation.
From what I can tell, horses cost way too much in the Roman Empire. They are an infantry-based army. I don't know how much that has to do with it. But if we wanted to trade our camels away, we could get horses for it. except you can see here it's red, meaning that we don't have enough weight capacity. But if I wanted to try trading silver, yeah, you see that we don't actually have the option to trade silver. It's just my horses or nothing. That's unfortunate, because I do have the silver for horses. However, I was just going to try to demonstrate. I don't want to buy horses from here. It would cost me something in the line of 30 to 40 silver for a horse here. If we just go over to the Parthian Empire, I might be able to buy horses for about 10 silver. I might be able to actually auction off my horses for just 33 gold extra. Now, that will result in me carrying a little bit less, but we do have camels, and the camels help us carry way more than horses would. Let's see if we can get like a 40. If we can get a 40 in a couple tries, then I'll go and pawn off my horses. All right, that's fine. We'll just keep going to them. All right. Let's see. We got some more wool to go buy. 3, that's an awful price. 4, well, that's a little bit better. So we'll go and just buy up this stack. 4, I could roll until we get 5, but this is fine. There we go. Oh, and do you see that storm temple over there? Actually, what I should have done before buying that is I should buy the oxen from this place. I made a map with all of every shrine, what it takes to sacrifice, and then charted a course between each temple and its closest animal pasture. Well, this one just happens to be right next to it, so we're going to go and buy an oxen. It will slow us down very, very badly. If we take a look, we are now traveling at a very slow speed. All of the pasture animals, the oxen, sheep, and goats, will make you travel very slowly. If you don't have enough horses for everybody, you will travel slowly. So the animals will travel slower than humans. However, we just need to get right over to that storm temple. As long as we have a Roman person, in this case the Roman start, we have enough knowledge to sacrifice this oxen. With our bit of rituals especially. We're going to keep maneuvering down south. So you might remember me saying that the Han Mushi would be the best one. That's because I figured out what everything the Han Mushi can pray to. His downside is that he has to offer food every time he prays. At the end of each night, you get to choose something for your characters to do. My trader says that she can brush off the horses, and you can see the blue circle on the left, bottom left. That says that we will gain morale or spirit. My my drover probably has some skill in Wayfare and is willing to get us food, but we don't get spirit for it. We're going to go ahead and do this to get more animal skill and the morale up. But you'll see that we ate 2 food. Well, if we had the Han Mushi with us, it would consume an additional 1 food on top of that if we chose to use his prayers. That sun over there requires a sheep, so if we find a place with sheep nearby and we wanted to walk back here, we could get more bonuses. With his escape, our relationship with the Romans are still quite friendly. If we sacrifice a couple more times, we could be up to friendly or allied and so forth.
Antaradus had been founded as a colony of the city-state of Aradus on the nearby island, but had swiftly eclipsed its founder's fortunes.
We're going to go ahead and buy up this wool, and we will, of course, take that sheep. 3 is not a great price. We're just going to go and do that anyways, and we'll take the sheep. Right on over for a sacrifice. Okay, 4 is a little bit too much. Just on principle of the matter. Sacrifice this. Bam. Now, you might not be able to sacrifice if you don't have the proper right giver or the rituals, but we do have our advantage here. When rolling our character, she does have good in rituals. So we are utilizing that. You also probably under normal circumstances would not be wandering off without advisors like I am. This one requires an oxen. I don't think there was an oxen for sale in that one over there. We can double check though. I'm not consulting my map right now because it would slow down the recording process, and no, there is not an ox here. This right here is an interesting port in that if you were to bring an army, it only has the 1 militia unit.
The island kingdom of Aradus had proved itself very difficult to capture, but under Roman rule it was rapidly declining in influence.
There wasn't anything we wanted there. It's not very useful to visit as a result of just having the 1 inventory to show you how important it is to the Roman Empire. So anytime we see something that I don't really care too much about what they're selling, I might trade for some provisions just to build up our experience points. With a higher animal skill, we'll do better when we're
Colonia Julia Augusta Felix Berytus was a Roman colony and port city that was lucky enough to be entirely exempt from imperial taxation.
With a higher level in animal skill, we'll do better when it comes to auctioning our creatures, which is probably the best way to get money. You see here that we can only auction for like 15 silver right now. But if we are to try our teammate, 17, marginally better. Remember that her skill is specifically for animals. Your choices your multiple choices are dictated by both your class as well as your rating in the skill. Even if my hero, my leader, had higher skill value than a person with a specific class for it, they may still never get that option. So here we can get silver, spices, and that's it. Nothing we really want. So we'll trade some wool and keep moving. To our left,
Colonia Aurelia Pia Sidon was one of 4 key Roman colonies in Phoenicia.
To our left, we find a sheep temple. You'll be able to recognize these after playing long enough, but there's going to be emblems on the outside of each temple, so you can decide already whether or not you want to run over there. So that star icon, as well as any sun icon, will take sheep. If it's a moon icon, it'll be a goat. So now my character has a very good in rituals, but she will still never be able to do things that a very good right giver will be able to achieve. So we will eventually want one. Let's see here. Oops, this is the store. This is the town we just entered from. Wow, that's still no real advisors for us. You don't want a Parthian Mobad or a nomad shaman if you're the traveler. The reason for this is if you're trying to get the achievement, you must sacrifice a horse to the Temple of Helios, and only a very few religious cultures will permit you to do that. That's why we want someone from the Roman Empire or the Kushan Empire. This person already has better animals than ours, but since we started with a herder or drover, we are not allowed to replace them. I mean, they've even got battle fare. That's good. Having any sort of battle skill makes your advisor count as a combatant when you enter a fight. But yeah, we are not allowed to replace anybody. We can only just buy some wool or sell some wool and move on.
The port of Tyrus had been made a civitas federata, a vassal of the empire, and was considered a close ally to Rome, who viewed it as one of the key colonies in Phoenicia.
We have reached basically as far south as we can get some wool, but we'll go ahead and just finish up down here anyways. We'll just curve around this part here. Oh, we've went way past it. Grab all these bonuses, which are not worth it if you have any sort of military, because you'll be eating more food than you find as far as resources go. You will never find food. I'm just saying, if you have 500 people and you're feeding them, it's not worth it to go out of your way to get one silk.
The city of Jerusalem had twice revolted against Roman occupation, and the last uprising had resulted in the city being razed to the ground, a disaster it was still recovering from.
Although I would like to trade my silver for their wool, the game does not give me that option. This is why I've mentioned before that it's not a bad idea to let your teammates gain some trade experience. Our only choice right now is to just get rid of those spices we found, and that's okay. It's not a bad deal. We preemptively get experience for that. I don't know why the game sometimes does that, but I'm not going to turn it down. Now that we've gotten rid of our one spice, we are allowed to trade our silver. Okay, that over there is a storm temple. You can kind of make it out there. And I don't believe there were any oxen for sale in this place. Just camels. We could trade our horses away for camel. If we can get actually a good deal. 2 horses for 2 camels is actually a really good deal in that each camel is worth 2 horses. So if I were to try to trade this back later, I will have doubled my horses. That's one of the benefits of me having some animal skill. She's good at animals, and she's from Rome. Also, we've been trying to raise our relationship. We were quite friendly before with Rome, but we are now very friendly. Each time we raise that relation, it's not just that sorry. As we raise everybody's relationship, each respective town, whether or not we've met them, will increase their relationship with us. I don't believe it's actually the faction that matters. If a town is hostile to you, and the faction itself is neutral, the town's still going to send soldiers out at you. This one has banners around it that makes this an imperial mint, which is...
When Alexander the Great had taken control of Damascus, it had been the key city of the region. The rise of Antioch under Roman rule had somewhat stole its thunder, but trade on the newly established Silk Road was gradually restoring its fortunes.
Which is one of the largest things you can find inside a faction. So this we'll revisit in a minute, but I want to go and take this oxen over to the temple next door. We are still very friendly. But raising a relationship before making a trade is a pretty good idea. Anything else we want from here? Doesn't look like it. Let's go ahead and head on over to this caravanserai and see if we can finally find a teammate. No, we don't. All right. Trade some wool and move on. We want to head to the east. If we take a look at our days, we still have 6 days left to hire 2 advisors. Now, I know that the quest text itself says 4 advisors. Well, your leader counts as an advisor, and then the person you start with, your second in command, essentially, is a second advisor. The game will never let you start with any of the 4 destinies with less than 2 advisors. Now, that was my Wayfair fare, I believe. Let's go ahead and trade for this provision, and then we'll step out of town and try to look. Yeah, that was her first experience point in Wayfair, so that brings her up to fair. What is my teammate? My teammate is good. All right. We'll try to raise my leader up to good or so. One thing I like about the way we navigate in this game is you can see the fort on the left, right between those sand dunes. If I walk forward one more time, the fort is now perfectly at the edge of the screen. Yeah, I can't see it past the sand dune, but if I just turn left here, we'll home right in on the fort. That ominous music is because the bandit is tracking us. We have no guards whatsoever, and I don't think we have any battle experience, so we would not do well in that fight. Yeah, there's actually 2 bandits right behind us, so we're going to keep moving, though. We're going to veer to the left a little bit to hit this waystone and get away from the bandits. Wolves, no matter what, never seem to hurt you other than your morale. They don't attack you and take your provisions or anything like that. Venture northward to that town up there. There's another caravanserai. We got another storm. Yay! I would think that you don't even see storms for the first half of the game you play, but we're just going to land in every storm possible. We'll be able to catch that horse 2 moves from now, unless it actually gets a double move on us, which it could happen. Let's take a look at this. The game only wants to let us offer our horses, or our wool for a horse, which is not what the deal we want to make. I would like to offer my camels to get more horses. So if I just walk this, the horse, yeah, I can immediately hit him. Pick your person with the best animal skill. Oh, apparently my animal skill requires a horse to catch one. but my leader is able to try to catch it from the back of a camel. Let's try it. We did not get it. Interesting. Let's go and practice my fishing. Might as well. Now we're at Wayfarer. Good. Go ahead and retry because we are running out of time to recruit. All right, we have 2 picks, and they're not particularly spectacular. Unfortunately, this is not the Mushi I was looking for. We got a right giver. However, she is Kushan, which does allow her to sacrifice a horse later on. You see at the bottom of the screen, you get blue horse icon. That means that she is joining us with a horse. Some advisors will join you with a camel. Our 4th advisor is going to be this Parthenian Pathfinder, because his skill is just 1 rating higher than this Nomad Guide. So we have 2 Romans, a Kushan, and a Parthian. Having a good diversity group will allow you to get better deals when you enter other towns, because they will have the option to trade for something. And while you might not normally trade, like say the Kushan, although our character is not our merchant, the Kushan will trade spices and silk at 2 spice for 1 silk. By that is the equal, because for Roman and Parthians, it's also still 2 spice for 1 silk. Well, with her doing the trading, we can move that up a bit. I'll show you when we get to that area.
Bororea enjoyed a certain degree of autonomy, despite being officially governed by a legate in Rome, and was growing swiftly on the back of Silk Road trade.
If I wanted to give someone a little bit more experience, I could let them buy this wool. Let's try for better than 4, though. Maybe 4 is the best we can get. Oh, there's a 5. That's good. And we'll spend the last of our silver on that. Now that we're outside of town, we can actually look at our quest objectives. You can't look at your quest objectives until you're outside, because the way the game's control scheme works, you can see at the bottom of the screen, we're facing north. Well, to the northeast is going to be if you can see your quest and your leader. If we're in a town, that'll just show us our northeast option for the town. Now, we need to go to a Parthian citadel. We have 14 days to get there. It's going to take us maybe 5. Give this experience. We'll try you. I don't know what your experience level is at. I would definitely say or recommend that you write down your teammates, what their skills are. So he's at fair, and a little bit more he'll get to good. Having a decent animal skill will be useful for your characters when they are fighting bandits, because this allows them to get horses. So if you have a soldier, I would definitely look for having good in animals. Fair won't get you any horses. You can still try, but you'll pretty much see 0 horses from that. And you won't get experience in animals until you capture a horse. So yeah, try for good for your soldiers. Divert ourselves to get these resources over here. Remember that we have 0 silver. One of the reasons why I don't like the Kushan is they can't pray to trees. If we had a Roman right giver or Han Mushi, we can actually get more morale just from hanging around trees. I was trying to raise my ritual skill on that one, but you don't always get experience. We're going to go ahead and at this, I guess we'll just go ahead and start leveling up our specific characters for their specific traits, meaning I don't think I'll divert experience to Wayfarer to our other teammates yet. Once we start fighting, if we do start fighting, I'll see what the game is choosing for us. Remember that you don't always get to pick who's doing what. So right until our characters get battle skill, they will never be called on to capture enemy horses. Let's go ahead and offer this offering to Hermes for the Kushan. The Han Mushi could also do, and a Roman right giver could do. I believe it's if you ever see any shrubbery like this nearby, you can do that. So every square around your character will allow you to use that in your camp. For example, this mountain or this little hill will count as part of something that some characters can pray to.
The pontoon bridge at Zeugma provided the safest crossing of the Euphrates for any caravan travelling east from Antioch.
Okay, we unfortunately still are not allowed to trade our camels away for horses. We could trade our silver for this. Our silk for that silver. But you still want more wool than anything else. Can we get better than 38? I'm just curious. 49, that sounds pretty good. Some spices as well. 22, sure, why not? Oh, we had another set of spices. How much left? Oh, there's not that much wool left. We're not going to... You can only get experience one trade per town, we'll say every day or two. So there's no real benefit.
Beyond the Zeugma pontoon bridges lay Apamea, which thrived upon its new position connecting the Silk Road trade route between Antioch and Edessa.
So there's no benefit to me trying to buy provisions from that place. We'll just trade what we've got. But if it's a good deal, go and still continue to make your trades. Just know that you only get experience for your first thing you do. There we go, 16 is nice. And we'll continue to spend the... See, we don't have a soldier, so we don't need to save money for guards. Just go ahead and buy some wool. We are loaded on so much wool that every time a storm hit, we'll suffer greatly. And you know how often a storm's going to hit me. We are going to go... We'll just fish here, I suppose. I don't really plan on sharing my food with this caravanserai. It's almost always not worth it. On merchant, on soldier, with superior battle skill. I think we'll take him. There's the Mushi. All right. Now, although there are 5 advisor types, and you cannot get rid of any of them, you have 7 total slots for advisors through your journey. The Kushan and Han are very close to each other in geographical proximity. General advice for you would be to try to if you did ever want to double up on professions, try to get one from the west and one from the east. So, for example, if you have a Roman or Parthian something, maybe get a Han or Kushi something else. Not Kushi, Han or Kushan. In our case, since we have a Kushan right giver, they are very close geographically to the Han, but I still want one of these guys pretty badly. And she's actually agreeing to hire. Your right giver, depending on their ethnicity, will agree to hire a second or third right giver. But here's the thing. Their consideration for what your options are for your diversity does not take into account that you already have that. What I mean is the Kushan will always agree to letting a Han join. But if I find a second Han down the line or a third Han, she'll still agree to let that other Han join. Because even though we already have one. So that's just an interesting gimmick. You might want to make sure that you're not doubling up on the same guy. But yes, we'll go and take this one, using up one of our additional advisor slots. Otherwise, I would say fill up on soldiers instead. Okay. We are heading eastward, so that'd be in this direction. We don't have any silver left, but we could see if there's sheep here. I think it might be in Zeugma. Let me double check that. I think they're, if I remember it correctly, yes, Zeugma. We'll trade some of that wool away. Not a good deal, but I mean, if you remember that each wool we get between 4 to 7 wool per silver. This is about a silver's worth of sheep right here. We'll take that back over. I'll let my Mushi get the experience because he's way better than the Kushan right giver. I will say that if I don't want to spend provisions, she's the way to go. You can see that both of these characters will give us spirit, but only one costs. This guy has more options. If I'm near a tree, he can pray. Camp. We'll go ahead and do this. As long as you have a superior battle skill soldier, he will allow your other advisors to take watch if they have low skill. This immediately gave my leader fair in battle. Now she counts as a combatant. I have 1 combatant, 2 combatants, 2 combatants, 3 combatants, 4 combatants, 5. So we only have 1 person out of our 6 that does not know any battle skills. So we can actually fight a bandit group now. We have 5 of them. And every single icon that you see on the map represents 5 bandits. It could be less than that, but it's an approximation. Plus your morale can make a difference about whether or not you succeed. I have been able to fight say, a 300 cavalry army with maybe me having 270 cavalry. The first time I lost. Then I loaded the game. I tried it again, no changes, and I did win. So there is some variance there. That one is a goat. Let's see if there are any goats here for sale.
Edessa's rich farmland made it a key supply point in the Roman military campaign in Mesopotamia. Emperor Severus demanded that it not fall to any Parthian counterattack.
All right, this is a fantastic deal. You might remember that earlier I managed to trade my 2 horses for 2 camels. Well, if I trade my camels away, I'm already going to get 5 horses. This is because I have good animal skill and I'm in Roman. If I weren't those, I might be able to get 1 camel, 2 horses. I can continue to leverage this for 10 horses total. We're going to take that deal. And I don't think we have any silver. Yeah, we don't have anything left, so we cannot buy any more wool. Let's just take a look at this and see if we might luck out and find our 7th advisor. Nobody there jumps out at us. And hold on, that's a goat. Forgot to check to see if we had the right sacrificial animal here. There is not. All right. Let's go and continue venturing eastward. Open up the choice to, this is also how you see your compass. We're going east this way. We need to veer more south because that's just a dead end over there. We have offering for food for those prayers, but we're going to continue to try to build up our battle skill. Although she is not the one with the least battle skill, once we use up all of her options, we'll be left by process of elimination, the person with no battle skill. So he'll be able to get that. And that is goat.
Its name in several languages meant crossroads, and the Roman fortress town of Carrhae prospered at the intersection of key trade routes in all the cardinal directions.
Okay. You might remember that I traded something like my 5 camels for 14 horses. I'm now trading my 14 horses for 10 camels. I can actually just turn right around, and I think we will do that. I'm going to turn right around, go back north, and trade my camels for more horses. I really wish that they would show you the name of your character in those choices, as well as their profession or relevant skill, or both. This is, right now, if you're just watching this video and you've kind of gotten to know these characters, like you know that this is my religious dude, this is a second religious person, that it's no big deal. But when you've played multiple playthroughs and they reuse the faces, you do forget sometimes. Like this, the first time I had this icon, he was my animal guy. Well, right now I have to remember that this is now my wayfarer guy. We'll go ahead and level up. I guess we'll go. No, I don't think our spirit's that important. Let's go ahead and just get some food. We're back here in Edessa. Let's see what our deal is. So now I can go from 10 camels to 25 horses. That's absolutely a deal we'll take. I'm going to go back south and trade some more camels until both places have used up all their livestock on us. And that's the economy game here, of course. It's the same advice that you always get when you play a tutorial for any game where you can buy and sell goods. It is buy low, sell high. That is always the thing that they tell you in these games. And so the fact that I'm doing it right here just makes it look cheesy. 25 horses for 20 camels is not too bad of a deal. If I take this over there, I should be able to get 45 horses. Now, they will run out, so I will be moving with camels too. I probably could have saved some horses the last time if I didn't just press max button, but that was just saving time as well. There's a lot of things where I'm not just squeaking out every iota of efficiency for the sake of recording. Because if you watching me re-roll everything was going to be real tedious. All right, let's continue to trade. All right, so for 15 camels, we can get the rest of their horses. When I entered Edessa the first time, I had what was like somewhere between 5 to 10 horses. I now have 42 horses and 5 camels. We can also actually sell off. Yeah, let's go ahead and Well, how many days left do I have? We have 7 days to go see a Parthian citadel. I think we have enough time to head back. Just one travel distance away. All right, we can sell these camels off and make ourselves go faster. 63, that's probably a really good price. No, I think we can actually get better than that. Yeah, 88. Because the horses over here are about 45 gold. So I knew that camel had to be worth roughly 90. So 88's fine. We'll go and sell that for 443 silver. We are now richer in silver than we began the game with, and we can continue to buy the wool that we left behind. We're not going to leave much wool left in Rome after this. See if we can do a little bit better than 4, just on principle of the matter. 5 is good. We'll go and buy this up. You note that at the top, they went from friendly to allied. So in future deals with this place, there will be a little bit more welcoming. So if we wanted to buy food, this would be the place to do it. Do we want to buy food? We could try. Let's see here. That's not much. It's not worth it. Let's go ahead and keep moving. We want soldiers. No, we have 5. That's enough for most bandit groups right now. Yeah, let's keep moving. So we managed to sweep up all the wool we left behind. Actually, hold on. Zeugma has a little bit of wool. Turn around and get there. Oh, never mind. I must have. Okay, I did think that I probably bought Zeugma out because I used up some of the wool in the town next door, Apamea, I think it was. But I was thinking, like, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I was wrong. No, I did buy them out. But on the bright side, we had to get some more camels and horses here. So let's see what our deals are. Maybe this won't be a loss. Right. Oh, I don't want to trade. Okay, see what I mean? I would like to trade my horses for camels. You saw what a good deal that was for me. But at the moment, I can only trade silver for camels. And if we wanted to buy horses, let's see what that would cost us. Now that I can show you. Remember how I said it's roughly 45 gold? Well, we are Roman with a high trade and animal scale. It's going to be 32 gold. Now, I don't know if animal scale counts for buying the animals themselves or just for the cattle market, but I know for sure it affects the cattle market. You also gain animal skill in the cattle market. There's some wool right here. Let's go and continue to snap that up. Yeah, I want better than 4 gold or 4 silver. All right, if we venture on the north side and we have 5 days left to get to the Parthian Empire. It's not that far away, but though we will be cutting it close. Now, there is a trick that we might have to leverage depending on how close it is. If I were to exit the game right now after having saved, first off, I would have to redo the wool trade, which is not that big a deal. But second, the game day timer resets to the morning. So if it's midday right now, it would reset to morning, giving me just a little bit more time to squeak out some travel distance there. But if this is Nibis, it looks like Nisbisis, but I'm sure that's not how they say it. But if that is Nisbisis up there, which I think it is, then we're about 2 days travel away from the Parthian Empire.
After Septimius Severus seized power in the year of the 5 emperors, he aggressively expanded Rome's eastern border beyond the Euphrates. Claiming Nisibis from the Parthian vassal state of Adiabene, he made it his capital in Mesopotamia.
Nisibis, that's right. Roman legionnaire, not that good for us. I mean, they're really cool. I like that he shows his armor and everything, but it doesn't help us right now. Trade the wool, get some more trade points. I've cleaned Rome out of wool just as we've been marching. I was expecting a storm on that one. Are we going to make it to the next town? Let's see here. What was 3 days left? That should be the Parthian Empire up ahead. This is the best way to end the day, is right at the Waystone, because putting the rock on the Waystone actually costs you time during the day. By doing it at night, there's two things. One, it will cost me no time because we would have already set camp, so let's go and do that. And two, we can actually turn right around and get the Waystone a second time for more morale and experience points. Leveling up ritual doesn't help too much unless you needed to sacrifice a horse, in which case you need to get your character up to level 6. Let's see, with the Kushan, we're already good with that, but the Han could also have done the same thing. So we don't really need to level up ritual. I'd rather level up Wayfare. That should be the Parthian right there. So since we have enough time, we're going to level up Wayfare one more time. Kushan Warrior, Nomad Trader. Nope, neither one of them I care about. Spinning around in place. We have reached the Parthian Empire. Caravans supposedly gain experience in Wayfare, which is totally not a real thing. That does not happen.
The kingdom of Adiabene had become a vassal state under the Parthians. It was not that the people of Arbela were particularly loyal to the Parthian King of Kings, just that they were slightly closer to home than the Roman Empire.
Alright. Remember that camels cost twice as much as horses. Well, I could buy the camels and horses from the Parthian Empire and then go back to Rome and sell them for an insane profit. Remember that I can sell my camel for 90 gold. That's a 70, silver, I'm sorry. That's a 70 silver profit, which when you consider that I buy camels for 20 silver, that's a huge turnaround. However, I'm probably not going to spin around and do that. Let's see here. I'll have to see what my next objective is. I actually wrote all of that down, but what kind of temple is this as well? That is a sheep temple. So at this time, we might want to think about... Yeah, we're going to try to take all of their silver. Never mind, they do not want to sell... They do not want to let me sell my wool. Although they say it'd be a bad deal, the Parthians value silver to wool less than I would get from the Kushan Empire. Because I spent a lot of time figuring out how the money system works, essentially. Let's go and trade away that wool anyways for the experience points. Also, we're not going to get great deals here because the Parthian Empire is actually hostile to us. They don't like us one bit, and they might send soldiers out to attack us. But there's no sheep around here, so I can't sacrifice to that temple. All right, what is my next quest objective? Sacrifice an ox at a Parthian fire temple. All right, I can think of a couple places that would be at. All right, let me head back to town real quick. And I'm going to take a little break here because I'm having a little bit of trouble speaking. So give me a bit, and we'll be right back. Okay, I used that break time to look at my notes and my map that I've made for myself. I think that's one of the things the game is really missing. I understand that they want you to have a sense of exploration. In that case, maybe allow the player to know the area around them when they enter a town. At the very least, they would know the nearest towns next to you, right? That's what a merchant might do is when they enter a place, assuming that they know where they're generally heading to the east or something, they might say, oh, there is a fortress to the south of here that with soldiers, but they could use some food or whatever. Then it'll just mark on your map. Not as a quest, but just to let you know that where things are. I liked navigating the game a lot better when I had a map that I made myself, as I said. Not because I need to know where I'm going, but because it lets the world, I guess, be a part in my decision-making and interest. Otherwise, I'm just moving east. It's like, oh, look, there's a town. Okay, I'll just go in it. Oh, there's nothing here. They don't sell anything. Okay, I'll just go into the next town. There's really nothing holding you to the game. So I used the break time to kind of consult my notes, and we're going to veer back to the west, since we did manage to earn ourselves 14 days. I should manage to make the next quest objective. The reason we're going to veer back to the west is I'm going to go ahead and, using my temple notes as well, try to build up my relationship with the Parthians, because they really do not like me. Not because of anything I've done, but just because when you start off the game as Rome, you are already hostile to them, because these two empires are at war. So we are in the Citadel of Arbela. In the patch to the southwest, we should find Hatra, which is also a Parthian place. Northwest of that, we can find Singar Fortress, which is along the river. But again, you can't see any of this. But that doesn't have anything that we're interested in. We're actually going to turn south and cut through the desert and get back to Rome for a second. That's the plan. We'll see how that survives. So let's go ahead and buy up their steeds. I guess we just use silver for this. Nope. Let me see here. Let's do it with horses first. Because I bet you if I bought the camels first, I wouldn't be able to spend silver on the horses. Again, it's just like how we had that silk issue earlier. Let's go and buy up all the horses we can. Looks like we can maybe buy them at 15 gold apiece. I bet we can get lower than that. Do I have a Parthian? You're Parthian, but you won't trade yet. Okay. 10 gold is not bad. I'll take the 10 gold. So that's a 50% savings right there. It was worth re-rolling for that. So for 200 silver, if I could sell these horses for at least 200 silver, I made a profit. Though I might just hold on to the horses. 10 gold a horse is still not a bad deal, even if I held on to the horses forever. Oh, come on. Now you want to trade away my horses for camels? All right. I can't believe... All right, fine. I just know that if I went the other way around, it would have forced me to do the camels. But let's see if we can... If I can get better than a 50%, which this actually is, that's almost a 1-to-1. It's not quite, but that's almost. It's a good enough deal. We'll take it. We will move marginally slower as a result of having camels in our group, but that's okay. And you still don't want to sell wool, right? That's fine. All right. I personally would have liked to have sold wool, but this is okay. Let's go ahead and venture to the southwest. That would be in this direction. Yeah, here's west, southwest. Got to find our way across the river. That should be Hatra up ahead. I'm going to take a look at my Pathfinder for a second. The guy with the bow around his neck. Yeah, he's up. He's Parthian. He's our Pathfinder, but he just didn't want to trade while we were there. Take watch. No, let's see. She should be at good. We still have one person left to level up to at least fair.
Aided by its hostile environs, Hatra had repulsed sieges by both the Emperor Trajan and Septimius Severus, who abandoned his attempt just 1 year ago, his besieging forces devastated by the Parthian counterattack.
All right, we're going to level up her trade skill, because sheep are not particularly expensive, but I'm not buying them in great quantities. If I was buying 200 sheep, then saving 30% of my silver might be a big deal. But in this case, let's say I were to use my merchant on this, I might be able to save total of 2 silver. We need 2 sheep from this. You still don't want to sell any wool, right? Yeah, all right. And let's try to buy out your horses. Yeah, you can see here that they would want me to trade for camels. But on the bright side, I guess it still would have let me buy horses. Meaning that if I had bought camels the first time when we were in Citadel of Arbela, we probably could have walked away with both sets of creatures. You don't have enough silver for all the horses, actually. So I guess it turned out okay. Okay. All right, let me think here. Do we want to spend the last of our silver on this? I think so. 18 silver for this. That's 9 each. Yeah, let's do that. The reason why I bought 2 is so that we can sacrifice one of these sheep here, and where we're going is another temple that sacrifices sheep. So let's go and do that now. It is going to be quite a march through the desert, though. We're at slow speed. This is our first battle. There's no like do. None of that. You just pick options like you've always have been. Generally, you'll have 2 negotiators. So on the left says there's a merchant who says he wants to trade. Then we have our priest who says offering a gift. See, our third guy is also a priest, says we should offer a gift, but our soldier says let's fight them. Well, that's the whole point why we've been training up for this. And we won. The music is the same regardless of whether you win or lose, at least in the initial part. So you don't know what it is going to be. That drum is to build up tension, I guess. All right, these options here are let them scatter, meaning it won't take you any extra time. So if you're pressed for time, you would pick this. Then we have 3 options allowing us to take the resources. The first one will typically raise your battle skill for your soldier. And then the remaining will raise Wayfare and Animal. Sometimes battle, but typically Wayfare and Animal. For example, let's go ahead and just pick this one just for the moment, just to show you. So Wigan might be able to raise her Wayfare skill up to, I think she's at good now. Raising to very good wouldn't take too long. Realistically, we'd probably want to raise him higher, but Wayfare to Superior doesn't really add us a whole lot of options. So let's go ahead and do that, because I'd like to build up her animal skill. Though she doesn't get animal for this, because these guys don't have horses. So she actually got 3 points in battle for that. That was actually pretty good. Let's see her. She is superior trade, very good rituals, good animal, good battle, good wayfarer. Okay, let's continue marching our way across the desert. Make sure to orient ourselves southwest. Yes, you can see that she does not want to pray to the tree, but this guy will, raising my spirit, but costing me 1 food. Go ahead and do this one instead. I'd rather take more skill points. I would still get ritual as a skill, but the Han can pretty much do everything he already can. Leveling him up won't change his options. I gotta find my way across that river. Sometimes it's not always easy to find your fordable pass. This is generally around the towns, but not always. I think I see it up ahead. We'll go ahead and pray this time. We'll get rid of the sheep first. We drug this thing across the desert.
Beneath the Acropolis at Dura lay an underground temple to Mithras that was perhaps the easternmost shrine dedicated to his worship.
Right. So I've also marked down where every achievement is in the game for locations, and this is one of them that you would want to stop by. So I'll open up the map after we're done sacrificing at Dura Mithraeum. A little bit of experience there. See, that's not the map button. Right, you start all the way over here at Antioch. If you veer southeast across the desert, which you probably won't, but you'll eventually see this river right here. Follow that river south past the Parthian Empire, which is up here, and you'll reach Dura Mithraeum. You don't need to bring a sheep for the achievement, though.
Marking the southernmost point of Roman control in Mesopotamia, the fortress town of Dura Europus enjoyed a status as an independent city-state, but lived in constant fear of Parthian invasion.
We can actually trade for a really good deal here. 30 horses for 25 camels. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll just capitalize on this. And then we'll maybe just turn right around and trade that some more. Well, it looks like this guy's going to try his animal skill. Remember that this guy does not have good animals, nor does he have good trade, nor is he the correct ethnicity. So let's see what this kind of deal is going to be. It looks like it's panning out to be about even, so it's not that bad. For 16 camels, we can get 30 horses. That's almost a 1 camel, 2 horse, which is the average price. Remember that before we were getting something like 10 camels and 25 horses. That's not that great of a price. We could trade wool, but we don't want to do that. What I really want is just more for my camels. 14 camels, 30 horses is marginally better. Not that much, but it's still a profit overall. All right, let's go ahead and do that. I feel like I'm losing money just by not making all the money on the table. And if we wanted to sell horses, we should be able to make so much money. 30. It was 40 up north, remember. North near the Roman Empire where you start. We're way down south. 31. 31 might be the best we could do. Alright, fine. We'll take the 31 if it shows up. Of course, every time I resign myself to that price. Alright, and we'll try. Apparently, we can sell all our horses. We must be packing enough camels for this. We'll sell all but one horse, so not that we'll ever probably catch a horse later on. Well, maybe we'll sell all but 7 horses. I don't know if that raises your advisor's combat skill or not. If you have a horse and a soldier or guard, that counts as a cavalryman, meaning he has a strength of 2 men. I don't know if that applies to your advisors. I would assume it does. We'll go and pack 7 horses. We only have the 6 advisors. We are now, once again, laden with silver, which does not get destroyed by storms. And we have 2,000 wool. Let's see what we could buy here. There's not much that interests me. We could buy guards if we wanted, but we'll just trade for provisions just for the experience. We can get another 2 Han soldiers right there. Again, you want different ethnicities. We have, we'll open up escape and take a look what our crew is composed of. Okay, we have 2 Romans. We have 1 Parthian Pathfinder. We have a Kushan Right Giver, a Han Right Giver. So our last guy needs to be Nomad. Probably a Nomad soldier would be best. All right, that's a stack of 3 bandits. We cannot take that on. 3 being 15 bandits. We'll veer northeast a little bit, but we kind of just want to follow this river. But this is fine. We'll divert from our course and go to Chalasar. All right. To the north is Hatra. We're going to head east to Ashur, which will allow us to sacrifice 2 more sheep to get those Parthians to like us, because 1 sheep sacrifice is not enough. Apparently, this is not a way I can cross. We need to actually go south anyways. Ashur is on this side of the river. There it is. Any nomads? No.
The old Assyrian Empire capital at Ashur was feeling the influence of both East and West acutely, and had become home to worshippers of a great many gods, including Christians that had fled east to escape growing prejudice against them in the Roman Empire.
Okay, 15 silver per camel, that's not a bad deal. I mean, there's some horses are about that expensive, especially in the Kushan Empire. We'll take those, and we'll see what we can get for our horses. 9 silver each. That's okay. We'll take that. Again, you can, if you're playing this, you can definitely absolutely squeeze out all of the money by hitting escape and trying again and trying again and trying again. But we'll be okay. Let's go and sacrifice both of these to these temples. Of course, we get a storm. Why wouldn't we? Now, let's see how much we lost. 27 wool. It's not that bad. Actually, it's like 13 silver, so we're okay. We are very rich because of this, but if we were playing normally, that would not be super devastating, but it would just definitely be uncomfortable. Like, it's just way worse than... If we fought those bandits and lost, we would lose less than the storm. And continue to sacrifice. Even though both of these temples had different icons, they both sacrifice sheep. Alright, now we want to veer... We want to continue heading along this river. And that'll take us to Chalasar. If I can just find my way across the river. That's always a pain in the butt.
The fortress of Bertha had the least imaginative name of all the Parthians' defences, for Bertha literally meant fortress.
Following the river will ensure that our spirit remains high as we camp for each night. Looks like the fordable section is over here. Try this real quick. There's a nomad guide, which I don't even think I'm going to be allowed to hire because we already have a guide. The Parthians are actually friendly with me at this point, and how many days left do we have? We have 2 days left to sacrifice. Okay. Well, let me think here. It is going to be... It's actually going to be on the 3rd rest. So I could spin right around and take a goat from this city and sacrifice it at temple, but I used up all of my extra time just walking a sheep over to Dura Mithraeum, where the achievement is. Under normal gameplay, you don't really need to go divert yourself to Dura Mithraeum because you'll have the achievement from just exploring the game. So we're just going to keep pressing south. But if I wanted to squeeze out an extra day, remember that I can always escape and quit. So you saw that night was about to fall upon us. If you're ever constrained for time under that kind of situation, escape main menu and return, you'll be in the morning. We should still have 1 day spare, though. Judging from the distance on my map, it should just take us 2 days to get there, and we have 3.
Founded by the Greeks as Artemeter as part of the huge empire of Alexander the Great, Chalasar, as the Parthians called it, remained a key station on the Silk Road near the foot of the Zagros Mountains.
So even though that this is not a Roman place, we are at good enough terms with the Parthians, and I have good enough skill that I'm able to get 3 horses for every camel. We'll take that deal right there. I'll leave the 1 horse because I don't want to really feel like trading 1 camo for that last horse. And that's all the experience we can get from this place. Again, we are not going to do this goat thing to the north, but we did manage to earn ourselves time. Like by going to the main menu, that gave me time to do it. But we're just going to keep going south as if that had never happened. That town down there, that's where we complete our quest. There are other places further deeper into the mountains. If you're just cutting straight east, this probably wouldn't even be the temple that you use. There we go. I think that was the last dude that needed it. Let me see here. Artabanus, he is... Oh, no, that's good. Good battle. Who was missing? Maybe we've already got everybody. No, everybody's on... You've got good battle. You've got good battle. Good battle. Good battle. Superior battle. Good battle. I must have misread something, but I thought we had somebody that wasn't... that didn't have battle skill. Any nomad warrior. There we go. Wonder if they'll let me hire you. All right, let me think about that real quick. Nomad trader, don't need that. Take a look at the crew. Okay, so here's the Roman. We have 1 day left. Now, when that you don't lose your quest when it hits 0. At the end of that 0th day left is when you lose, and we're already right here. So we have the 2 Romans, then we have the Parthian, okay, and then after the Parthians is the Kushans, after the Kushan is the Han. We have 2 Hans, so yeah, we just need a nomad. That is correct. I just wanted to confirm that I was doing the right thing here, because you can't fire your advisors ever. Okay, we have Magnificent 7 for hiring all 7 advisors, and a Famous 5 from getting 1 from every culture. I wonder if we'll make it. We probably won't make it. That's fine. Literally, when you sacrifice an ox at a fire temple, that literally costs you the entire day. So what I will do, actually...
The Parthians founded Ctesiphon some 3 centuries earlier, after concluding that the previous capital, on the other side of the Tigris, was too difficult to defend. Even in its new position, the Romans had managed to sack the city 5 times.
You still don't want to sell the wool, but we'll go and pawn off spices that we I don't know where we found the spice. Okay, so let's see if we can make it before nightfall. It probably will just be nightfall because yep, that was immediately night because of the oxen. That's how slow we are. So that free day I supposedly won by going to the main menu. Well, we're already trading it in here. Not that it matters too much because that's when the quest ends. So by the quest ends is remember that you don't actually get more days by finishing the quest early. One of the reasons why the Han Mushi is superior to the others is he is willing to pray near towns. Not every religion or culture is willing to do so. So you will still get ritual experience for this, but you will never get spirit from it. Even if she was near a river, she wouldn't do that. Our combat skill, we'd rather raise up our trade, I think. Now we have 0 days remaining. Literally, when we go here, it's going to cost us a whole in-game day. But that's okay. Let her do it because she's not going to get much ritual experience. So we'll have our leader sacrifice this ox. What? All right. I forgot about that. We will go ahead and load for that one. So you definitely should take footage. So here's what happens. Even though we sacrificed that ox, the game ticked over its day before allowing me to get the quest to be counted for completion. I know this because we had that brown text up here instead of green. So if you see that, definitely load your game and squeak out your extra day. So yeah, we will go ahead and actually quit for that. And then we head on over. You can see that since I loaded the game, we have the 1 day left to sacrifice an ox. Head on in and do that. And then we get the green text. Now, when you fail the quest, you might get diverted to a different side quest in return, such as one of the quests is to capture a horse. If you don't, you have to own some goats. It's an easier thing to do. You just buy them from town. We will actually have a little bit of trouble getting to this Kushan settlement with 21 days because we're on the furthest southwest fire temple possible. There are other way more convenient fire temples to reach that are on your way, but we have taken a giant detour. We're still not quite done with the detour though, because further south of here is another achievement we're going to snag. So let's go ahead and make sure that there's oh, they were not even in town. That's why I was confused. So when I'm playing by myself, I'm not like sitting here talking at the screen for a while and then forget where I'm at. We need to head south because we're going to head to Uruk. We need to just actually find our way across this river, which is always annoying. The game mentions Oregon Trail as like inspiration, but definitely river crossings has always been an infamous point in Oregon Trail, but for different reasons. Sometimes when the night is about to fall, such as when you drop off the stone at the waystone like I just did, you can actually squeak out an extra move if you're pushing the button at the same time as night is falling. We'll go. I guess we will raise our battle skill or try to, and then touch this again. At Lagash Fortress, there is an ox, and we'll go and take that. Actually, I wish I could see my teammate's skills. I know she's done at least one trade. I don't know if he's ever raised his skill. Not that it really matters too much to get to the fair, but we'll see. We'll offer you some wool for this oxen. Remember that I can get roughly 5 to 7 wool per silver, so this is almost a silver and a half. He did not level up. Oh, apparently still gave it to Longina. Sometimes that happens. I think it's because I activated Longina first. So, okay. But I'm not entirely sure if that's really the reason. We did need that oxen for... Can I sell wool yet? Nope. Okay. As you can see, my Han Mushi was still willing to pray, even though we were right outside the city. Sacrifice the ox. She's not able to do so. Even though this is like the fire temple, this is what I would call a celestial or star or storm temple. So she can't do it. She's not an official right giver. But we can do it here. And doing it at these temples do not cost you the whole day like our previous temple just did. Every temple can only take one sacrifice. Even if you go back to it, it says we'll need to do it next year. You can play. I had a save file that went to like 1,000 days, and I still could not get any of the temples to reopen. So it's a one-time thing, and that's really bad if you are trying to get the achievement for 100% traveler mastery, since you literally need to sacrifice at a temple to get 100%. And if you've already sacrificed at that temple using it up, you don't get the achievement. It doesn't count it for you. It just says that you still have to go do the quest, but you can't because it's not open anymore.
Perhaps the first city ever founded anywhere in the world, Uruk's fortunes had declined with Babylon's, but its position on the fertile floodplain of the Euphrates still gave it some value to the Parthians.
How much silver are you asking for? 10 per horse? We could do that. Camels, also silver, that's fine too. Oh, you know what? I wasn't thinking. I was just thinking about getting the experience. No. What I should have done is buy this sheep first, because there's 2 temples right here. Each one sacrifice one. Right, we are very friendly with the Parthians now. Now let's finish our merchant trading. I should have done that before buying off those horses, which is a very expensive purchase. But these camels be even more expensive than that. That's a little bit too much money. 20, yeah, I'm willing to go up to 18. 18 is fine. Okay. Well, we're down quite a bit of silver at this point. And you still won't trade wool. That's fine. All right, so we got our Uruk achievement. We're going to make a beeline. We have 18 days remaining. We're going to make a beeline as best as possible for the Kushan Empire. I said we were going to be cutting it close. Make our way across this river again. Although we were here earlier, we'll see if we can get more trade experience since we're on another visit. Does it work? We did. Okay. We'll veer off towards this city. It might have a cattle market, which will let us offload the camels, making us go even faster. We lost 3 horses, 70 wool. Jeez, that's like 25 silver.
Every time the Romans sacked Ctesiphon, the Parthian kings retreated to Susa, and the citadel had grown on the back of being their place of refuge.
Okay, we could get rid of the last supper camels. 31 for you, and for you, it's roughly 21. Now, there are variances. If I keep trying for her, I might get maybe higher than 30. We'll say she averages at 20, though. Oh, now she's down to 20. I remember how I said the first time is generally the best? 34 silver each. That's not bad. So since I think I was buying camels for 20 each, so we'll go and pawn off the rest of them. It's good enough for me. And now we're traveling very fast instead of fast. We don't need to worry about advisors anymore because you can't do anything with that information. We'll never be able to hire another advisor. There are achievements related to advisors, so you may want to keep a save where you have your 5 and then run around and collect other advisors and then go back to the previous save. Gonna weave our way through this mountain here. It's not gonna be pretty. Oh, by the way, when you open up your map, the range at which you see things is dictated by your Wayfarer skill. So the higher your Wayfarer skill, the more map you see. I would like to have had a mini map so that I don't have to keep opening the map. Even in the Steam forums, the developer says, "Hey, pay attention to your map. It's an exploration game." Well, okay, it's fine and dandy to tell us to pay attention to our map, but wouldn't it be even better if you just let us look at our map as we move around instead of having to keep flipping it open all the time? All right, we've reached the exit of that mountain pass. This one would require a sheep, which we're not worried about. If we continue northward, we'll go through Sabr-Khast Fortress. Yeah, having a map does make the game feel much more better. Again, not because I know where I'm going and I have to like have a concrete destination in mind, but I think just the sheer act of planning things out. It's kind of like how I just played the Dead Rising game, and there's not really, I don't know if satisfaction is the right word for it, but part of the gameplay element in Dead Rising is planning out your next move. It's not just go around and kill zombies all the time. If you did that, you would not get all your achievements. You need to do certain things, such as rescue certain survivors, have a certain kind of survivor in your party. Just planning things out is part of the fun of Dead Rising.
Perhaps the greatest castle of the Parthian Empire, the fortress of Sabr-Khast resolutely guarded the Kormabad River Valley from any incursion.
We can manage to buy horses for apparently 7 silver each. Remember that as time goes on, we're actually raising a relationship with these guys, and my skill is getting higher and higher. It says the reputation of the caravan among the Parthians was raised. It's not just for the singular town you're in, or fortress, or port, or any of that. It applies to the entire nation, which is good if you're waging war on them. Let's see, we want to make sure we're heading north. Of course, another storm. Like a 50 silver loss right there. Because you got to count the horses too. So 7 horses, that's about 20 gold. Or I keep saying gold. I wish the storms were really more contingent. It doesn't make sense from a real world perspective, but I wish the storms affected you based off maybe your morale. Definitely not percentage based though. Percentage based is awful because that means that the more you play, the more you get penalized. Is that really how you want your players to feel? The more you play, the worse it feels to play? Alright, we got 2 of those 7 horses back. I'm going to veer to the northeast. We're going to ignore that waystone since it isn't directly in our way. I'm already tempted not to hit waystones just to save us a little more time, because remember that putting a stone on the waystone costs you time in the game. You pass it up, like if you walk over and do nothing, it doesn't cost you that extra unit of time. My secondary hero's battle skill. There's the desert. And you've cut across it. Won't be good for our morale, but we should have plenty of morale. We have 10 days. We are very bold. Saw some treasure to the right, but we're just going to ignore that because we got to complete the quest for 100% mastery. all these free camels. Again, we're passing it up. We're gonna... Can't I pray at the camel? I think I can pray at the camel. Hold on, let me check my notes. Kushan. Yeah, okay. According to my notes, Kushan Rightgiver can pray to the camel. But sometimes she just wants to catch it. We'll have her attempt to capture the camel. I hope she doesn't. I hope she fails. No, she caught it. So now we're actually slower. I thought about walking around that. All right, let's try to cut across to get rid of it. Yeah, I would probably slow down to kill that bandit, but again, we are trying to make... Because we are actually slower than very fast, that he was able to catch up to us, which is something I do know. Even if you are very fast, sometimes enemies get a double move. Typically the cavalry enemies, not the bandits.
Its position near to the great flame of the Exalted drew many pilgrims to Abashar.
I was trying to think if I make sure I can actually sell camels here, but 10 silvers and a phenomenal price for a camel. Okay, those are horses. I want to sell the camels. Unfortunately, the only one who wants to sell the camel is my soldier. 21 silver. Yeah, I guess that's fine. There we go. That's done. Go east. We actually want to veer northeast. So we're going to skip the experience from... Wait, no, we do have to go southeast because that is a mountain to the northeast. So we're going to have to walk around this one. How many days left do I have? Whoop, that's the wrong button. We have 8 days left. I think we'll make it. Okay, that is Patagurbana Fortress. We're going to veer northeast. Although Patagurbana Fortress does cover one of the exits. The exit itself is a little bit more south than I want to go.
Kuchan was one of several city-states that the Parthian noble houses had seized in the early days of the empire.
We're not going to buy camels this time because I don't want to chance losing this achievement. We'll buy the horses, though. We'll go northeast into this pass. The fortress now that up.
Guarding the route across the Kopet Darg Mountains into Parthia, Mithradat Fortress had grown up around the ruins of earthquake-felled Nissa.
That is what the Kushan citadels will look like. We're in a geographically correct region for this. I like how the game does that these cities change over the course of your journey. That's a nice touch. Rather than being the exact same static city for each one. However, this one, the very first one, does happen to be Parthian. So we're not there yet, but that is the kind of city we're looking for. Whoops.
The great citadel at the Merv Oasis stood at the very edge of the Parthian borderlands, in the shadow of the great Red Sand Desert to the north.
As a traveler, it doesn't really make too much sense to buy more wool at this point. Really, I wanted to sell the wool to the Parthians, but the game just refused to let me do that. The wool from the Kushans is not a bad deal if you're heading into the Han Empire, which we actually are. But we're not gonna trade for wool at this point because, unfortunately, each destiny in the game ends the game when you're done with it. Even though there's a continue button, the game's only ever let me continue once out of the 4 destinies. All the others just drop you back to the main menu. Yeah, we're not going to buy the camels just in case. Let's do this. What I'm mentioning is you're supposed to trade wool to the Han Empire, get their silk, and then trade that to the Roman Empire. The problem is the game's already done. The game's literally finished at that time. So you don't get the benefit from any of that. So me buying all this wool, it doesn't actually help if I couldn't sell it off to anybody. All right. Okay. It looks like I was heading in the wrong direction. We need to be veering east. So my heading was wrong on that. I think we still will make it though. Balk shouldn't be too far from here. That wasn't the city I was intending to go to, but it shouldn't be that far away. Again, we're crossing this river. So it's about 2 more river crossings away. 2.5. Well, 1.5 actually, because it's on top of that river. I was counting the river it was on top of as the 2, and then I also counted it for some reason again as a half. So I counted it twice. But that is Balk up ahead, which counts as an Imperial Mint. And how many days left did we have? We had 3 days left. So if I wanted to wander around here for a couple days... Oh, apparently just touching the caravanserai also counts. I didn't know that. That's fine. The game day just started, so we got the most out of it. If it was like as night fell, that'd be a little annoying.
The Kushan Imperial Mint made Balk a key strategic citadel for the Kushan Empire, and it remained under heavy guard at all times.
Trade skill. That went back to Longina. Although I don't think I selected her for any point. That's fine. Take a silver and a sheep, because this is a new place. It's a neutral to me. So I'm not actually getting any reputation bonuses from these guys. There's 2 temples right next to me. We will hit the one to the northwest first. And our current quest is capture a wild horse. Now that could be very annoying under even the best of circumstances. But I will show you where an easy place to capture horses are. Now, unfortunately, horses do not respawn. So, that being said, by the time you get here, if you have caught every horse in the game, that's his own issue. Still, bandits respawn, but not horses. The game isn't really set up to let you play forever and ever and ever, which is a little sad. But I understand. They want you to enjoy it for its limited time. We're going to sacrifice here. Okay, we need to go back the way we came. Let's see, on the west side of the river. I can see some horses in the distance there, but you got to keep in mind that they move 1-to-1 for you. Occasionally, they won't move at all. That's your chance to get the horse. Well, the easiest way to capture a horse is if you pin them up against a impassable object. There's a great wall that you can find in the game. The horses can pass through that. You cannot. So the game does not take that into account. Just weave my way through these mountains, and this is what it looks like on the map. So that's Balk right there in the center of the screen, where we just sacrificed to 2 temples. Enter this little mountain valley, and you'll find a bunch of horses and wolves. You just got to pin that horse. Oh, he just stopped. He stumbled. In fact, if I wanted to make more use of my time, I'd wander this glade for another 5 or 4 days. We have maybe 6, but I always want to give myself that extra day, such as when we sacrificed that ox. It was a good thing that I had that extra day. Try to capture this horse, and we're done. We're just going to go ahead and leave this place. I'm not going to worry about all the other horses, because you're always on a time crunch. Visit a Han settlement east of Kushan lands. I don't wonder if I should have used those 6 days for something. I think we should be okay for what I've got planned if I don't make any more detours. other than the achievements I'm looking for, that is. Like, if I head straight there, we'll make it in, I don't know, 8 days, 10 days. But I'm wondering, can I manage to hit all the achievements within 20 days? I think I can. Okay, back through the valley. Well, on the bright side, if we don't do it all in one continuous playthrough, if I don't visit too many cities, I can actually load an autosave at this time. So it keeps about 8 saves. As my wafer, I should have picked my animal person. I thought he was my animal person because again, I'm used to him being my animal guy.
The Balika Stupa brought many Buddhist pilgrims to Drapsaka, which had become a flourishing town.
Drapsaka is my fail save. So if we get the achievements and then I turn out not to be able to reach that, we can just load the Drapsaka save, and you still get to keep the achievements. So this wouldn't be unreasonable for you, the player, to also do if you don't care about having your play file having the achievements, but your account, your Steam account having them. Not that there's an actual big difference there. All right, somewhere along, yeah, it's just a little bit up ahead and to the left. There's a crack in the mountains here. For one of the achievements, we're going to veer to the right. Make sure we're heading the right way. Treasure to the right, but we don't care about that. If it gave me experience, I'd probably stop by it, but no. You just get like 1 silk or something. I would assume that wagons in the area give you loot related to the area. I can tell you that bandits in the area do give you loot for that specific area. For example, there is up here where the map is totally blank, but around this area is a mountain pass guarded by both the Kushan and the Han. And the bandits in that area drop spice. And then further east, past the Han Citadel, right, where the Han give you silk, those bandits will give you silk. I would assume that wagons do pretty much the same thing, so it wouldn't even be silk I get here, it'd be spice. Which is almost worthless, really. What you want to do with spice is take that and sell it to Rome. You don't want to take spice from the Kushan and sell that to the Han for silk. You would instead rather take the wool from Kushan and sell that to the Han for silk. That's why I was saying, like, hey, I could, if I were playing the long game, I would buy wool from the Kushan as well. That's why I said it's okay to sell it to the Parthians. The game just refused to let me. We found the Buddha's skull.
The remote Nagara Vihara monastery had few visitors, except for Buddhist pilgrims who came to pay their respects to the Buddha's skull.
Now we gotta weave our way back out the mountain, which, again, takes us quite a few days to do this. Yeah, we are still going the right way. Now we want to veer to the northeast, where we can find another shrine that gives us an achievement. Make sure we didn't pass that crack in the rocks. That's what I'm looking for. The game has cited inspiration. Oh, that's the body where there's the crack. That's the body we passed up earlier. That's how I knew I went too far to the left. This should be the one I'm looking for. Yep, there we go. The game has cited as inspiration Lords of Midnight and something else for the advisors. Is this the way we need to go? Yes, it is. It's a pack of 2 bandits. We are a group of 7 cavalry people. I'm not sure if the game counts us as 1 entity or 2 for having horses. So let's find out. Well, we won. Okay. I want to go northeast of here. There's another 7 horses and 30 wool. Yeah, I think the game would be substantially better if it did at least those 2 things. Told you information about the advisor giving that suggestion, what skill it would use, and getting rid of storms entirely. So we want to take this left path and then take the right one following it. Of course. Another, wow, look at that, how many horses just died. Okay, I have 100, I had about 200 horses when we entered this place, which is substantially more than I think a normal person would have. That's one of the reasons why I dislike storms so much. It's a percentage of your power. The only thing you can really do is convert everything to silver, but to do...
Along the shores of Karakul Lake were burial mounds and strange stone symbols that had been there longer than anyone could remember. What clan had made them, nobody could say.
But but the only way to convert everything to silver is to be a cattle rancher like I am, because everything has limited amounts of silver. But you can always auction things off at the cattle market, regardless of any limits. There are no limits, I mean. We want to venture eastward of here to find the next achievement in the mountains. Just make sure we're heading the right way. Can I cross this river from here? That's the hard part. The mountains I can kind of weave my way through, but if the river just says you don't get to cross, then I'm out of luck. Right, we are fine. I don't know about those bandits, so here I'll just demonstrate a different thing we can do. Assuming that I don't just run around them, which I might be able to run around them. Yeah, I did. They managed to just follow my trail instead of trying to cut me off. How many days we got left? 7 days. Oh, that's rough. All right. We'll see. If I cut back to the west, I might actually make that 7-day limit. I might have to cut back left. So these are the nomads are hostile to me. If I attack them, we go to war essentially, and you can make peace with people by going to certain temples of their faction. For the Romans, it's the Temple of Daphne in the beginning of the game, very beginning at Antioch. That's the only temple they'll take. For the Parthians, the temple near Ctesiphon, which is near Uruk, that's a temple that will accept your oxen. The Romans accept silver. For the nomad, or for the Kushan, many of the temples will just take spices, 100 of them. For the Han, who are after the Kushan typically, I'm just happy to be cutting through the mountains. For the Han, they will take 80 silk through most of the Buddhist temples throughout the area. And for the nomads, they require 10 horses at the very, very far end of the map. Very, very far end. The 10 horses is nothing, but going to the furthest possible point in the map is punishment enough. However, we are not going to be warring against them. Let's go and just barter, and we'll just give them a gift. This was what I was going to show when if the bandits had caught up to us, I was going to say, I'll show you how parlaying works. So I can give them food, I can give them wool, we'll give them food. You can see it's only 6 food. Not bad. If I give him silver, it might be something like 10, 20 silver. Now that being said, there is a chance for it to fail. If you fail at it, your character ends up the defeat screen. Not your game over, but your characters are defeated, and you have to pick what kind of items you want to lose. When you want to sacrifice horses or goods or whatever, because it's the kind of the retreat mechanism or code. Again, that was just the army they sent out to us. Now we're going to have to parlay again for the garrison inside this fortress. Give them some more food.
The kingdom of Puli was ruled from the stone city of Varshade, high in the Apamea mountains. Its proximity to Kashgar helped it to prosper, and the Han obsession with the horses of Fergana sheltered it from imperial intentions.
Okay, it's not letting me trade my silver for their wool, but I can trade my spices away at first. I'm not worried too much about the profit of this. I just want to make them not hate me. So we'll go and give them the 22 spices. That's fine. There is no overpaying. Like, let's say they only had the 1 wool. I could give them 500 spice for that 1 wool. They won't like you anymore for that. So actual fair deals is best. We can get better than 2 silver. 3 is fine. Remember that we were getting, at the very beginning of the game, 5 to 8 wool per silver. So this is not exactly a great deal. However, 1, I don't want nomads to be picking on me all the time. And 2, wool is about to become very profitable for us. So I spent 36 silver for 108 wool. Another way to look at that is I might have spent 36 silver for 54 silk, because you can roughly trade 2 wool per silk. This particular fortress is friendly. Let's exit out and take a look. The nomads themselves are hostile, so other citadels we've come across will probably still hate us. So we can trade a little more and make them happier with us. Maybe buy up all this food for the wool we just bought. Because I'd rather hold on to the silver, since silver does not get destroyed by storms. All right, how are we looking? Still hostile. Could buy some guards. Typically, guards are 2 silver for 1 guard. Now, if I were to wait until we get to the Han, I could actually buy guards for cheaper. But the thing is, you don't really want that many guards, because the game will actually, not only do you have to feed them constantly, but towns that are smaller than your guard size will send hostile forces to you, even if your relationship is as high as possible. So even if we are allied with Rome, like that's what it says on the top left, I think we might be admired, right? I think higher than admired is allied. Rome soldiers will still emerge from their cities if you have a lot of guards. The smaller the city, the lower the guard threshold. I would say if you keep your guards under 15 is really, really all you need to fight the bandits. And then, of course, your advisors themselves fight. So we don't really need to wait until we get to the Han Empire. This is fine. I'm still trying to make the nomads like me by doing more business with them. Still hostile. And then maybe we'll try selling some cattle. 8 silver. We can do better than that, can't we? 3. Maybe 8 was the best. Whatever. I'll just work on the next one. I don't have to make it all like me in one go. All right, so that was the stone city of Vardadesh, I believe that was called. So we need to venture to the northwest if we're going to cut back across. So if we take a look, we have, 6 days left. We should make it since we're going back. If I moved forward, I might not make it, because the next, I really think I could have, but it's okay, because the next quest, I believe, is infinite timer. And that's the one that makes you go through the desert. Whoops, we passed that pass I was looking for. We did lose one guard already. Oh, and a cool thing, it could be better, is if you don't have enough food, the game tells you how much food you have through each night. They may say, like, we have 2 weeks worth of provisions. It accurately counts your people and how much food you have left. Well, if you don't have enough, when you're in a town and you select guards, you can actually give up guards so that you can continue to play the game, because losing food is the only way to lose the game. You can get attacked by an army of 300 soldiers and you still don't lose the game. It's when you don't have food is when you lose. All right, this is the second Han city in the north. There's another Han city just to my left. That's about 3 days travel from here. It's called the Juandu Tax Control place. One of my strategies I would employ if you needed it is... Actually, maybe we could head on over there. Hold on. Let's see here. How many days we got left? 4 days. Okay, we'll do that. So right here is Han settlement. If I go there, I already have accomplished this task. I believe I have enough days left to actually go back and show you what I'm going to talk about. So one of the strategies I like is to save and exit the game, or exit to the main menu, between Osh Fortress and Juandu Tax Control. Those are the two citadels or fortresses guarding these 3 packs of bandits. I mentioned earlier that horses don't respawn, but bandits do. This means that you can continue to farm bandits for spices, food, horses, battle experience, wayfare experience, animal experience. And there's 2 ritual temples in the area. Actually, there's a couple more than that as well, but the 2 that are directly in your path. So this should be a Han settlement right here. I say should be because it's not actually a place, it's not actually a settlement.
The Romans called Juandu the Hormatorium, or merchant station, and it served to raise taxes for the Han from the many travellers who crossed the Apamea Valley Pass.
What I should have done is I should have hit the temple that was in front of the settlement we met earlier than this, but this is fine. We'll continue to buy provisions just to make them like me. Can we do it with silver this time? Because you don't actually get that good a deal trading wool for provisions to the Han, I think. Let's see here. 1 silver, 20 provisions. 1 wool, 20 provisions. Cancel that. And there should be roughly, typically 2 wool per silk. 3 if they don't like you, which they don't right now. If I wanted, so let's say that 3 wool per silk. This should be worth 60 provisions in that case, but we're getting 40 for that. So you don't get exactly a 1-to-1 ratio when you're trading per provision. That's why in this case, I think for the Han, we would just want the silver, and that's just to make them like us more. So we're going to spend that silver. It's okay. This place is friendly to us now, which will help for certain deals. We're going to also trade away our wool. That'll unfortunately, lightening your caravan doesn't make it go any faster, but it will make storms less punishing. I think. I'm not entirely sure, because if we manage to trade away, let's say, all our horses, then we can focus on protecting our goods. We're going to trade away this silk. And by lowering our weight, we can get rid of more horses. As far as I can tell, every item in the game counts for the same weight. Whether it's a piece of silver, a bolt of wool, a jar of spice, they all count for the same weight. And a horse should be able to carry 200 units. I only tested this a couple times. But yeah, let's take a look at our quest objective now that we've reached the Han settlement. Visit a nomad citadel in the Sea of Death. At this point, you only have a couple objectives left to complete in your traveler destiny, but this is the only time where you have free reign, because the game developer has kindly allowed you not to push yourself to death. If it was like 21 days, it would still be cutting it to get through the Sea of Death. So at this point, you see there's no days left. This is when you finally have free roam over the game. So if I wanted to travel back to Rome and sell any silk I can get here, this would be the time to do it. But I'm just basically touring you through it. I'm not worried about trying to like make the ultimate save file or anything, but this is when you want to play, wander around, get the achievements and all that other stuff. This is pretty far late in the game, as you can tell from the Traveler stuff. We're almost there. We've already encountered all 5 factions. We just need to get to the last city on the right side of the map. Yeah, this is one bandit group right here. There's a second bandit group, which is a little bit concerning how large that is. We should be able to handle it though. We have 16 combatants, but we'll see. Okay, we won. That's good. But remember, there's some variants, such as when I go and buy wool, sometimes they only give me 3 wool bolts. Well, combat works the same way. But in general, if you just aim to have 15 combatants, then you should not have problems with bandits. And there's another storm. We didn't lose any of the silk bolts, but we did lose 30 wool, which is roughly 15 silk. So then I would just head to this Osh Fortress, which is the Kushan Empire.
At the gates to the Taldic Pass stood Osh Fortress, a bastion defending the Fergana Valley from the Han, who eyed the wonderful horses of the region jealously.
We don't really need more provisions. Storms do also consume your provisions as well. They like a percentage of it. So otherwise, I would just buy all the provisions in the game. Actually, I don't want that. I want guards. Hiring guards will give you... She's Nomad, not Kushan. I'm just trying to give her battle experience. Come on, give me 1-1. All right, fine, whatever. I did mention that it's generally 2 guards, or 2 silver per guard. So we have 9 guards. We'll go ahead and get 6. This way, there's no question whether or not I can defeat a bandit group. All right, and we're going to make our save here by just walking out and back in. You'll see in the bottom right the little coin icon, as long as the place is not hostile to you. Remember that you can still enter a hostile city by bribing them. And we'll go and hit quit and then resume again, because this will allow the bandits to respawn. All right. And we don't need to do this for any reason. I'm just showing you that this is a very good strategy to rack up all of those good things I mentioned earlier. The ritual, wayfare, animal, battle experience, as well as all of the resources that you can see at the bottom of the screen right now. So I figured I'd show you at least once, but I'm not going to continually farm it or anything. This is a good way to use up extra days for the Parthian destiny as well as the Warlord destiny. Okay, now I finally have 2 warriors showing up rather than 3 people begging for safety. Maybe it's because I have so many soldiers at this point. There was a bandit on this tile, but that was the second bandit group I attacked. They just didn't despawn correctly. So, there's just 3 packs of bandits. It's always the same 3 packs. You might find a 4th pack wandering from this valley right there, but that's okay. Generally, my patrol route just takes me from Osh Fortress to Juandu Tax Control. We will go and... Go ahead and hire an extra guard just for the experience point, since we don't have anything to buy here. At low levels of ritual, visiting those shrines, you can just circle the shrine 3 times. At higher levels, you need to give up a provision, though. Visiting temples and doing different things can get you different results. That temple up ahead, normally you have just the option to share food with them. But if you have 10 spice and you have enough ritual skill, you can actually give them 10 spice to raise your relationship with the Han Empire. It's not worth it, though. It doesn't raise it up enough worth 10 spice. I would not pick that choice. I don't have 10 spice on me, so I can't pick that as an option. It doesn't show up. None of my characters will say, like, hey, if I only brought spice. So So sometimes you might not realize you have another choice there that you just lack the supplies or skill for. But we'll just go ahead and give her ritual points. Right. In this area, there are things that look like caravanserai, but they're really encampments or campsites. It varies depending on what the game wants to call it at the top of the screen. Right now you see neutral caravanserai. There's going to be little things that look like that, and it varies between whether it calls it those two things.
The mighty citadel of Kashgar lay at the edge of the Karim Basin and had grown rich with the passage of many caravans through the nearby passes to the west.
Just want to kind of get rid of my spices. Oh, I do have enough spices to give away for that. Just to get rid of them out of my inventory. Trade away this wool. Remember, silver does not get destroyed in storms. As for the silk, I think I kind of want to leave it alone for right now. I probably should have left it in Juandu Tax Control. There is the Destiny quest to get more silk. Remember that we are not on a time limit right now, so I might want to leave the silk alone. We'll continue to venture east. We have plenty of horses. We don't need to worry about that. I think we'll hug the way east through the south side just to show you that you can get there from either north or south. Since we have a little bit of time extra to us, we might as well mess with these wolves. This is the only time in the game where you don't have a limit for Traveler. Each of the quest's destinies, the characters that you pick, have a quest where you don't have a time limit. But you have to play until you get to that point. So you're always go, 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 go. Which unfortunately forces your hand in what kind of exploration you're doing and at what pace. Did we retreat? I guess, I'm sorry, I was a little distracted. I must have picked some option that was subpar. Maybe I did run away. So normally, going through the Sea of Death, I mean, the game doesn't really penalize you for having low morale as far as I know. Yeah, your skills might not be as effective. For example, your right giver might say that he's not going to pray for you this night because he's just too tired. Well, under those circumstances, even if he did pray for you, you would still lose morale. So it's not like you got a better result. He gets ritual experience and you lose morale, whether or not you had the morale to pray. So it's okay either way. But if you wanted to avoid going through the desert,
Yakand had withstood multiple attacks by Xiongnu nomads in the last century, but remained a loyal Han citadel.
But if you wanted to avoid going through the desert and letting your people be unhappy, there's a north and south passage for this. I want all the silver I can get my hands on. There's another settlement to the south. Why don't we hit that real quick? $11 horses.
On the gates to the passes to Kashmir and beyond, Pishan was an important trade station during the months when the mountain routes were passable.
Unfortunately, there's no silver here. I did make myself a spreadsheet of what places carry what goods, but again, I'm not really consulting that right now as I play this. But they don't seem to change between destinies or anything like that, I don't think. Okay, we're just going to follow this river as best we can towards the east. Okay, now here's where we're going to part ways from the river. These rivers themselves will hit north, and then they'll take us on the northern pass I'm going to show you that we can still make it easily through the southern side. All right, if you look at the top of the screen, this one happens to say encampment. We'll go and force camp here by pressing enter and just rest. Till morning to give us a chance to run across. We'll take this spirit up. We'll dart our way across to the next encampment. You can kind of see it over there to the right. Now it's a campsite. I don't know why the game considers them different things, but okay. Get the experience. Wait at the edge of the oasis. Take another rest. Let's see how we're doing on morale. We are bold. East. Yeah, okay. Hold on. We are going east. There is another oasis to the south of us. Guarded by some bandits. Campman up ahead. So this is not as comfortable, of course, as just following along the river, but it is totally doable if the desert were even a more lethal place. So you can see that we haven't actually had to stop in the middle of the desert or anything. Not, again, that the game would even care. As long as you have provisions, you're fine. So let's rest again. Our camp has, or our party has time to stop and rest because we are not traveling at slower speeds, such as with camels. Camels will make sense for the desert, but since we are traveling it very fast, we can actually just stop at each oasis. There's a river up ahead, and that will lead to a nomad city, but most of these other places are Han settlements. So let's see how these nomads fare. They may have guards against us because we're not the best of friends right now.
The impressive monastery at Ravak Vihara had several statues of the Buddha wreathed in flames, unlike any found elsewhere.
Let's just visit real quick. It's a little bit actually next river over. Camp before you cross into this. You can I could see that was almost evening. Yeah, this one's an actual caravanserai. So if you need more guards.
The capital of the Hotan region, Utian also served as an imperial mint for the Han, who trusted its remote location to protect it from attack.
All the silver we can carry, and did we miss it? No, okay. No, it's still going to be up ahead. There is a section to the inside that mountain area where the nomads are hiding. Maybe it's up ahead because I see another river. Unfortunately, never has there been released some sort of map editor or anything. So you're going to just be playing the real world each time, which is good that it doesn't change and you can rely on your notes from a previous run. But I think the game seems robust enough to allow for an editor. Just no silver. I generally hit down when you enter a town to make it go north. So right now I'm facing, let's say I randomly chose southeast. If you press down on the keyboard, it'll make you face north, and then you just go to the right and pick out provisions real quick. instead of resting at that oasis. I think we can forge on ahead. We'll see. We might not make it by nightfall. We made it to the grasslands, so that's at least something. With the grasslands, we can see that we can still pray, so we aren't losing any morale. All right, this is it. Here we are. Nomads are uncivil towards me, but they are not terribly hostile. We can trade our beasts of burden for money here. Let's see how much money we get. 3 silver. No, I don't think we're doing this. Not here. Nomads, this would be a good location if you wanted to get horses, but less so if you wanted to sell them. 8 silver. We can do slightly better than that, right? 7. All right, we'll take 7. Again, it's the principle of the matter here. I'm not going to miss the coin here or there. There's nothing else for me to buy. I just really wanted to show you that there was a nomad settlement right there. They aren't particularly important, but they do have a market, which can be good depending on what you're looking for. Because all of the Han settlements with a market will trade your cattle or beasts for silk, which, depending on what you're going through, that might not be what you need. If you have enough guards, you can actually get a lot of food because your options for your wayfarer change. If you have 2 wayfarers, they will actually get you enough food to feed all of your advisors, but nothing for your army. So when you have an army, 1 wayfarer is all you really want. If you're not doing an army game, 2 wayfarers is pretty cool because you get special dialogue options. It'll just say something like, with me and the other guide, we will go get us some food. And you'll come back with 20, 30 food, which is good, again, if you have 7 advisors and that's it. But if you have, say, 300 soldiers, which you will want, you want at least 300. Probably 400, really. Because you will find groups of 4 cavalry, and each unit that is displayed is 100 men. So if they have 100 men, then you want 100 for each one. Or if they have 100 per you figure, I mean. I was too busy talking, I didn't really stop anywhere I could have stopped. I missed the town to the left, but that's okay. I was just too busy talking and not thinking about making a good pit stop. Sorry, for some reason I thought the mountain over there was like some sort of weird monster. In the camp, I was trying to purchase. We'll go ahead and hit this temple, though. Now that we've made our way mostly through the Sea of Death, we can start veering northward and we'll get to the settlement. There are a couple nomad settlements that you can use to complete this objective. We're going to pick the furthest one just because. Some silver, that's all I want. I want silver. Go do this again. Then veer east. But yeah, there was no need to actually do all of this, hugging the edge. You can just go straight east the moment you get to this area. And as long as you have enough food, you're fine. Yeah, sometimes some sandstorms will happen upon you. That's like the thunderstorms we've been having. But it's not difficult for your characters across the desert. They may lose morale here and there, like what I'm about to do now. This is going to cost me morale, but ultimately doesn't appear much different than normal. Alright, I think that might be the final river up ahead. see the edge of the next region. Okay, continue to ford along this river on this side. We want to be on the north side, but I'm currently on the south side. I could have just crossed, but there is a town I just want to hit on the way. It doesn't hold any significance. It's just it seems to be better for me to show you the game if I'm hitting the towns along the way. How many horses do we overall? 60 horses have died to storms. Let's remember that we started like from the Kushan area with about 200 horses. Right, that's Citadel in the distance. That's where I want to take you. So the town we just emerged from was a nomad town. They don't really carry silver, so I'm not that interested in what they have to offer us. On the left is the area we'll complete our Sea of Death objective, but there are other citadels to the north of it that you could use instead, which maybe I guess we could just as well do. We should have ample time as long as I don't collect all the silk. I should keep if I stay under 200 silk, I should be able to afford myself some extra time. This is probably the best deal I'll get because I've accumulated relationship with the Han over the course of our journeying across the desert. Let's see here. No, that I can do better. I can do better than that, right? They're currently giving me three wool per silk, or I'm giving them 3 wool per silk. I know I can do better than that. All right, all right, all right. I give. We'll do this. That seems like a fairly solid deal. So you might remember me saying that you want to bring about 500 or more wool. That's because one of our quests will require us to bring home 200 silk. I currently have 184, and I can auction off a bunch of my horses for the last bit of it. But this will give us ample time. And once we touch this area, we will have completed this objective: visit a nomad citadel in the Sea of Death. Let's see, do I want to do that here? I mean, I guess it shouldn't hurt as long as I don't buy up all the silk. Yeah, I think we'll do it here. Just to continue to be your tour guide. Task complete.
Closely allied to the Xiongnu, the fabled Lulan kingdom on the fertile shores of Lop Nur salt marsh required constant watch by the Han Empire, who had forced the region to rename itself Shanshan in order to dint the fierce pride of the natives.
All right. Now, although this looks like it's in the Han Empire, this is still technically a nomad settlement. So trading silk for silver is a viable. Wool is I would rather buy wool from the nomads than sell wool for silver, which is the option here. We can get 3 wool for 1 silver, as you can see. But you have to remember that when I was buying silk from with my wool, it took me about 3 wool for their 1 silk. So it evens out, which is why you don't really do a lot of trading with nomads. They don't have very good trade structures for the player. But you could totally get your 200 silk from there because that has 500 silk and it's one of the more unique settlements that the nomads have. So yeah, we have 14 days to acquire 200 silk. We have 184. As long as we don't cross that number, we're okay. Do remember, you will get silk from running over wagons and bodies in the desert, as well as silk from bandits that you defeat. So it is very viable to get silk through other means than trading, which could put you in a tough spot if you weren't ready to start the next segment of your journey. So I'm not going to buy silk up to 199. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of. I would just like more silver, though. That way the storms hurt less. We'll venture northward. There's a storm right there. And although it says acquire 200 silk, that does mean, actually, that means possess 200. There's a difference. Acquire suggests that you could just pick up that much and sell that much or have it lost over storm because you've acquired that over time, right? Like you've received it. Now you need to have 200 at any one given moment. So that storm will keep you from getting your 200. Provisions. Okay, and this, you can just follow this river all the way back home. That zooms out this far. But I'm just going to take you on a slight detour to show you more of the nomad homes. Let's rest up here on this side of the oasis. Take that one because it doesn't lower our spirit, and we are quite forlorn, it says. Because of all the storms, really it is. That's literally what has dropped our morale as a rock. So I could have easily just, sorry, wrong button. So if I had just crossed the desert without any of the rivers, I would still have ended up at the same morale penalty, quite forlorn. Thanks, game.
The land of the Mountain King, Moshan, stood on the edge of Mount Kuluk and had rebelled with Turfan against Han rule. Now it stood on the edge of Xiongnu territory, preparing for the inevitable Han counterstrike.
He sounds so dramatic in that. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily want to buy horses. I want to actually get rid of my horses. Because I'm trying to narrow things down to just my trade goods so that I can save myself from storms. Because you get to pick one thing you want to protect during the storm, whether that's your provisions, your supplies, or your animals. If you pick your priest to save you from the storm, they will protect all of the oxen. Like, you don't lose a single one. But that being said, oxen are not a practical animal for usage for meeting any sort of time constraints in this game. This will be the northeasternmost nomad settlement as soon as I hit this temple. This stupa here will allow you to make peace with the nomads for those 10 horses I mentioned earlier. This is the furthest point in the game. We can also give them silk. I mean, we're rich enough to do that. Why not? I might as well show you. It's not something I would suggest you do. The reputation of the caravan among nomads is raised. It's not even say greatly raised, which is a thing that does do. Like, you can do things that will greatly raise your relationship with the game, with a faction. So we gave up, what was it, like 7 silk or something? Yeah, that's not that much. For a relationship, I mean. So yeah, I would not suggest you do that. This. But literally, I lose more resources than that to the storms. They hurt so much. So that is, yeah, that is, I'm facing the correct direction. For a second, I thought I was going back east.
The oasis at Turfan had changed between the Han, the Xiongnu, and independents many times since the Empire came to these lands, but the nomadic warriors now claimed the desolate wastes of Turfan as their own.
Unfortunately, nomads don't like me that much, and I'm not a nomad trader. If I had a nomad trader, I might be able to get horses for like 5 silver each. But I'm a Roman trader, and I have tons. I brought in like 2,000 bolts of wool.
Once the capital of the Turfan region, the town had changed name as often as it had changed hands, but currently bore the name the Xiongnu gave it, City of the Ravine.
I think he hit his chair there while I was recording that line. Now, this does mention that the city changes hands a lot. It's Yarkolto right now. And while that does not happen during the process of the game, many of the encampments you run into during this desert region will say something like west of a city name, east of city name. This is southwest of Zhaohe, which is, I guess, one of the names it used to be. Well, either that or they changed it during development. But there is no Zhaohe in the game. You'll find another camp to the southeast of that, which will, I think, refer to the same thing. So either that's an intentional reference to them changing their name a lot, or something. I don't know. It's just a little detail that pretty much no one's going to notice unless you, like me, write down a list of every single settlement in the game and then what it does. For example, we hit this one. It says east of Weishu. That means that if we continue westward, we will absolutely find it, which is cool in that earlier when I was way back over here talking about, hey, when you visit a town, it would be nice if they told you what the nearest towns were like, because I think a merchant would know that. They would get that information from people around them. Well, I can infer from this campsite in that direction that this must be Weizhou.
On the shores of Bagrat Kul lay Weikshu, the eastern citadel of Carrhae, which stood firm against attacks from Xiongnu nomads who controlled the lands to its east.
I'll give the narrator props for his pronunciation. It's always nice to see. All right, this is the direction. Yes, yeah. All right, gotta cross this river. I saw one in this direction, so we'll just take this way, even though it's still further than I like to go to cross a river. But you can kind of make out the light blue of the river crossing if you just look at the far distance.
The City of Fire, Agni, was the capital of Carrhae, a small but prosperous kingdom that was under firm Han Empire control.
I don't actually need to buy the provision if there are silver here, because I'm going to get that silver no matter what. Okay, we need to go west, turn around. We can follow the road northwest, that will lead us to a dead end, so we actually need to go south. And unfortunately, if I want to get to that temple, looks like, oh, we can still get it over there.
Seven Stars had been one of the first Buddhist temples built in the Tarim Basin, and monks trained within its walls had set out to found other stupas around the edge of the Sea of Death.
The options that you get from your advisors, they will never repeat. Now, they may mean the same thing, but let's say you had two exactly the same dude, and they would say exactly the same dialogue. What will happen is instead, one of them will say probably like the rejection dialogue for that. This might come into play if you were bringing, say, an ox to a temple, and you have three people who are perfectly willing to sacrifice that ox. One of them will say he doesn't know how to or refuses to do so. Not because there's anything bad about his class or his personality or any of that. It's just because it wants to give you, the player, the choice to say no. In this case, we have raise your animals, raise your battle, raise your wayfare probably, and raise your animal. No, this is that's animal. Some of the worshippers, rich right givers, mobads, whatnot, that's what they're called, mobad, Parthian mobad. When you meet a wolf, you can take it as an omen, and I call that practicing rituals.
Carrhae's southern citadel guarded its fertile lands from attack from the south, but welcomed traders to its busy markets.
Which ultimately doesn't matter too much, since the game is meant to be played in a short run. You know, there's no point in like practicing ritual when you can probably do, like my Han Mushi can pretty much do everything right out the gate without even bothering to level him up. but he can get levels. Okay, that's another interesting town over there. But we'll just go and bypass it because it's a tiny town. I say interesting because some of these towns, they look like they're insignificant, but they have resources or a market that you can utilize, whereas these bigger ones may be meant more for holding a military. This one, Kuli, does not have any sort of cattle market. While the one to the north of us, Lun Tai, which looks smaller, that does have a cattle market. We'll just go ahead and get this. Again, we want to kind of stay under the silk radar, which is why I left all that silk unpurchased at the very first few, at the very Han settlement in the northwest. We left that intentionally so that I can buy that and then continue my destiny. That's what the gain quest is. This is the traveler destiny. Let's see, we have how many days left? We have 4 days left. All right, I don't think I'll actually make that in 4 days. I have to get here. Yeah, that's not even going to work. That's okay. There's Kucha Citadel in this direction, which should have enough silk for us to hit.
The powerful kingdom of Kucha had sworn fealty to the Han Empire and enjoyed great prosperity under their stewardship.
And we not only can buy this much silk, but we can also just sell off our extra horses to get that silk. We're going to just go and buy the silk outright first. I still have wool left over. I've been using wool for everything throughout our journey. I still have like 50 units left over. Buy some provisions with the rest of that wool. We're carrying nothing but silk. Let me think here. I might give up my horses for more silk, and then when we are losing creatures or losing horses, I don't lose as many, and I could just say guard the goods. So 1 horse for 2 silk. Remember that a horse I can get I can buy a horse maybe about 10 silver, and it took me so this will be worth 6 wool right now. Trading 3 silk for the horse, it's not it's not something that's gonna make us or break us. But what we do need to worry about is how much we can carry. So at this point, you see the number is red. That's not to say that they have a limit on silk. That's how much my carrying limit is. And if I were to sell just enough to stay under the limit, that means that if anything happens, like a storm happens, I lose my horse, I guess we become overburdened, which is not a thing the game actually knows how to handle. Still, that would be inconvenient, so I'm just going to double on horses. We need 39 horses. I'm going to subtract this 1, 2, 3, 4, go up 1. I'm going to keep 39 extra horses. So this should give us 78 horses. Yes. And how much silk are we carrying? We are carrying 594 bolts of silk. Oh, and also, how many days do we have? We have 28 days to sacrifice a horse at the Kushan Temple. So this is the thing that's going to keep you from getting your achievement for the Traveler. You get an achievement for every one of the destinies. 3 achievements, in fact. 1 for completing it, 1 for getting 70%, and 1 for getting 100%. So you can, of course, get all 3 at once. If you run into a horse in the tree line, you can combine your guide as well as your herder/drover, your animal person, and you will get something like 4 to 7 horses. There's another temple to the right, but we'll just keep following the river. Most of the temples are very, very similar to each other, the difference being what kind of narration it might have. And only very few temples have any sort of narration. To try to raise our morale, because we are quite forlorn, if you might remember. Let's meet these wolves as well. Raise our relationship. Even though it doesn't show a blue icon on the bottom left, that does raise our spirit. As long as we have high enough animal to make that happen. So we basically said, like, hey wolf, we're going to give you some food, be cool with us. And the wolf says, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do that. Unfortunately, in this case, we did not roll that. These wolves will not bother us, so this is just going to give us a penalty. However, if you had multiple people with high animal, you would have, I guess, a way to say is multiple chances to get the "Hey Wolf, are we cool?" dialogue. We didn't get that this time, so we're just gonna pick this one because I think she's our second highest animal person. Let's see here. She's on good. No, we do. Yeah, we have multiple people who are good animal. We were gonna need something like excellent to get the wolf dialogue. And that's just an encampment / campsite.
The monks at Kizil Stupa had begun digging caves in the mountains, intending to create a sanctuary for the followers of the Buddha. The citadel of Wensu enjoyed great prosperity as a result of its position along the northern Silk Road, which brought many visitors to its gates.
I refuse to trade silk for silver in the Han Empire, says the merchant. Well, I mean, yeah, that's not really what I would want to do either. But if we wanted more silver, let's see here. Two silk or 1 silver. Remember that I didn't really spend silver to get this silk, and I want to convert as many of my goods to silver as possible. So although the merchant is absolutely refusing to because it's a bad deal, she doesn't think about storms and my awful, awful luck. So I'm taking that deal anyways. Okay, we're out of wool to buy provisions, so we'll just trade silk for provisions. Again, it's not really a good deal, but the game ends when we get to our destination. So our destination being our current one, it's a short-term one, it's just to go to the horse temple. And then after that to go back to Antioch, which is a nice way to end the game. Like you started Antioch, you end at Antioch. Problem is you just left the player on the cusp of a good trade. It's like, oh well, you don't actually get the benefit from your smart and savvy trade or managing to hold on to your resources all game. No, we're just gonna end the game for you right now. Yes, there is a continue button, but if for some reason it seems to dump me back to the main menu. Maybe there's something that happens that bugs it to do so. I'm not sure, but there's only ever been one time where it didn't, and I think on that one I just kind of played the game without ever loading.
Known as the southern town, Nan was the capital of Gumel Kingdom, which had sworn fealty to the Han and operated as a vassal state on the eastern border of the Kashgar region.
So maybe if you play a game straight without ever going back to the main menu, you can hit the continue button. How's our party morale? It's unsettled, so it's not quite as bad as it used to be. Now I should have plenty of time to get to the Kushan Temple as well. Because we traveled roughly 10 days, maybe 15 days from here, right? From there, we went all the way north just to check out the nomads. Not that we needed to, it's just I just wanted to show you the nomads. We could have followed the river all the way back this way. We have to get to around here. And that's one of the reasons why you need to be very particular about what kind of right to giver you have. If you have a Parthian right giver or a Han Mushi or a nomad shaman, you need to get your rituals up to level 6 in order to sacrifice the horse. However, if you have a Roman right giver or a Kushan right giver, you can do this sacrifice without any additional ritual points. And I normally would just pick that based off of the face of my character, but you got to remember that I've played this multiple runs, and the faces will change. What may have been a warrior one time might be a merchant the next. But yeah, you would need to raise your guy's ritual skill to incredible, which is very, very. It's not impossible to do, but you really have to go out of your way to do it. So if you before you reach the citadel in the Sea of Death, definitely level up your dude's ritual skill. Did I just walk into a dead end? I did. All right. That will cost us some days. We should have plenty. Let's see, we have 21 days to get there. It might take me about 15. Just ballparking it. We'll see how close that number I pulled out of my hat was. I wanted to see if anybody else wanted to fight and get some experience. But yeah, you saw how that bandit group gave us 6 silk. This is why I said that you can farm bandits and just get your resources. You can become very rich by fighting bandits. Right, am I still going the right way? Yes, I am. Put things in perspective. Her battle skill is at excellent, and we're pretty much at the end of the game. This guy's battle skill is at superior, and I've been working on that somewhat. He probably wouldn't even have hit incredible even if I gave him every level up. What I mean by that is, sometimes I'll get 2 soldiers here, and I can pick which one does the fighting. And then I'll get maybe 3 options here to choose who's getting the experience and doing the thing. So if I pick him, he'll get some battle skill. It is not easy to get your eye to incredible. And then after that, there's epic, and then legendary, and then there's number 9. That's a bug, or not really. You're not really intended to get to the 9th rank. So that's why it's called number 9. Just hopping from river to river. One of the reasons why I move and stop and move and stop, that's the fastest the game lets me move, because it makes everybody animate after you. So you take a move and then everybody takes their move simultaneously, like the wolf and the animal or horse in the distance. The wolf reaches the horse's tail, nothing happens. So it's not like there's actual gameplay going on back there. It just is animation for them to move, then I move, then they move. We are almost back. So this is the place where I planned to have bought the silk, but we weren't going to make it the number of days we had left. Oh, that was silver. I didn't mean to spend that. All right, it's fine. When you trade something to the camp or town, you don't get that back. It doesn't reappear. What I mean is, let's say that there's camels and horses in the same town, and you buy the camels, and you trade camels for horses. They don't restock their camels or so here, have some silk instead. Okay, so they're still out of stock on silver. Is there anything I want to? No, I don't have any. I don't have any spice or anything to trade for your silk. So we'll just trade this for that. And I could actually go under 200 silk at this point, by the way. You just needed to acquire or possess 200 to get to the next step. But at that point, you could just toss all your silk out the window if you wanted to. It really might as well be that equivalency, because as I've mentioned more than once you get to Antioch with your valuable silk, you don't get to do anything with it. So you might as well trade it away for provisions or whatever on the way back. Anything to make your journey easier, even though it doesn't make sense that you would do so. So if you need guards or food, again, food is the only way to lose the game as far as I know. I've tried running into enemy groups with my advisors, run into an army of 400 people, and I still don't lose. Oh, I didn't mean trade silver again. Oh well, it's all right. see if we can get that soldier to incredible. But yeah, although the game itself isn't super deep, I really dig the advisors thing. For some reason, that I just like it so much, even though I normally like having control on everything. When I play The Sims, first thing I do, besides turn down animation and motion blur and stuff, is I turn off free will, and I just make everybody just do exactly what is necessary to win. But these advisors, for whatever reason, I just like the system it has here. I think it's because it actually is fairly varied. You can kind of have an idea what you're to expect from each option. For example, if I want to get the silver, my characters will all have differing reactions of how they would get to that silver, but you're going to know that, or you can expect to be able to sell your silk or your spices or whatever for it. And selling spices to the Kushan is not that great of a deal. And we might get a little bit more by selling your silk, though. What did my trader say? She also wants to sell the silk. I mean, it's not going to be worth that much, really. It really isn't. 3 gold, 3 silver each. But again, I just like having assets that won't get destroyed when random things happen. I have this spice jar. I got lots of spice from those bandits.
The prosperous town of Andijan lay at the crossroads of several major routes through the Fergana Valley.
The Kushan have the lowest guard threshold.
The quiet village of Margalan was home to many sheep herders and often had wool for sale in its bazaar.
So if you have 60 people, some of the villages here will show guards in front of the towns.
Kavakand lay between the citadels of Aksi and Kujand and benefited from the passage of many caravans upon its road.
Alright, here's where we make or break our run. So hopefully my right givers can take care of business here and they don't decide to mess with me.
The citadel of Kujand was the capital of the Fergana Valley region, enjoying a prime position between Samarkand and the mountain crossings towards Kashgar.
This is the only temple in the game. Whoop, wrong button for map. This is the only temple in the game that allows you to sacrifice a horse. As far as I can remember, I went through the map a few times. I didn't see any other temple. So to do this quest, which I'll show once we're done with the map, it must be in this location. For the Kushan Empire, you have basically a southern valley of towns and a northern valley of towns, which is going to be right outside Osh Fortress and Juandu Tax Control with the bandit stuff. If you take the southern pass, you'll find all these shrines, which will give you achievements. Which has got to be the northern pass, and it's got to be at the mouth of the pass. So that's the Temple of the Celestial Horse, which looks like any other temple. You'd actually have to walk into it to find out it's any different. So if we take a look at our quest, we have 10 days to sacrifice a horse at a Kushan temple. So that we took roughly 10 days to get from the Sea of Death to here. We took roughly 10 extra days to wandering around the desert before I bought the rest of my silk. So if I had bought the silk at that spot where we had completed that last destiny, we would just barely be making it to this temple.
Dedicated to the celestial horses of the Fergana Valley, this temple of Helios was one of very few that sacrificed horses to honor the gods.
The Han Mushi, while great, I really like that he can pray with almost anything. He cannot sacrifice to the celestial horse unless he reaches incredible on his ritual. So thankfully, we do have a Kushan right giver, who just right out the gate allows you to sacrifice a horse, and we need to do this. To help put it in perspective, the Roman and Kushan right givers are okay. They're a-okay with the celestial horse sacrifice, but the Parthian, the Han, and Nomad right givers need to have incredible on their ritual skill, which is level 6, and while not impossible to achieve, is definitely out of the way. I mean, I don't have the achievement right now, but we are on track for completing the destiny. So we have 28 days from the Celestial Horse Temple to get to Antioch. So from here, you have 28 days to go there. So see if we can get him to expert mode anyways. He's our Pathfinder, I think. Continue to try to level up his battle skill.
Samarkand had swiftly become one of the greatest cities of the Silk Road, its site at the foot of the Zarashan Mountains, marking the midpoint between Rome and the Han capital of Zhoushan.
Okay, I want to try to take a different way home than the one we've already covered, since I already know the passes. Other than maybe accidentally running into a dead end, I should be able to navigate our way back. Reason why is I want to let you see different sights and hear different narration than the same thing every time. Since you already heard it going east, let's try to get you some different cities to check out. Because I view my role recording some of these segments to be like a tour guide.
The oasis at Bukhara had proved popular with travellers on the Silk Road and was particularly known for its sheep.
He sounds very puzzled by that. Picking him to level up battle will lower our spirit because we're being on guard at the time. I see a way around this river. According to my map, the closest way across is just actually south, which we were trying to avoid going to because we started from the south.
The fortress of Amul lay on the river it gave its name to, and stood as the first defence against Parthian invasion of Kushan lands.
Yeah, we had double the horses necessary, so I can afford a few storms. But if I had sold exactly enough horses to stay unburdened, at this point we would probably move very slowly, and I would not make it. That is the Citadel of Merv. We already visited it once. You notice that we're now getting 6 silver now that we're back in Parthian lands. We'll just go ahead and trade the 1 silk for the last 2 silver there. Face to the west. There it is. Okay, we went through that fortress before. We can take this way. Just a little bit of difference. So if you were hostile with the Parthian Empire, which is very, very viable, the Parthian Empire is actually the biggest empire in the game. But if you were at any point hostile with them, you can sneak through the mountain pass instead of those very, very heavily fortified fortresses. Which generally, if you're going to go to war with somebody, you're going to want about 800 soldiers or 400 cavalry. Here, have some wool. We need to go west.
Once the capital of the Parthian Empire, the great citadel of Sadavazer was known to the Greeks as Hekatompolos, the city of 1,000 gates.
The game, I guess, at the very end screen counts how many days you have and how much mastery or quests you've completed, essentially. I'm basing my victory based off how much silver I bring home. It's going to be the trader, but can't remember what my trader always looks like.
Once a bordering region to Parthia, the ruling houses had annexed Semnan in the early days of the empire and claimed it as their own.
Yeah, unfortunately, because you have to spin around in place in towns to do stuff, you always have to reorient yourself when leaving town as well. Okay. All right, we went from down here to get those achievements north through it. We're going to try to cut west through some of these mountains. You still got to go south somewhat. There is no direct path west. Oh, I should have picked a military guy. I was trying to see if I can get him to incredible before the end of the game.
Built to defend Arsacia from incursion, Rashkan Fortress stood near the dread dunes of the Jinn, resisting the worst that the elements threw against it.
3 silver, huh? Well, I know it's not the first trading anymore, but come on, you can do a little better than that. But we'll take it. We're just gonna move on. The game makes this your destiny to be like the first person to ever walk to that far and back, but somehow you'll still find Han soldiers and silk in the west.
The town at Commandon was the site of a small Parthian palace that enjoyed the safety of being close to the heavy defences of both Ecbatana and Arsacia.
One spice jar for 1 silver. Almost there. All right, one more valley to the left, and then we'll take that left. I could have followed the river we just crossed. I could have actually followed that back to Rome as well. Well, not all the way to Rome. I could have followed that out of the mountains. Well, we'll just take the next left. Real quick, I gotta remember to check for silver first. And I'll sell you the spice jar. That caravanserai is actually a special one, so we'll touch it. But it doesn't give you an achievement or anything. It's only special in that it has a marketplace. It is the only one that I have written down that has a marketplace. So if I wanted to get a few more silver from this, I guess you could do it here. All right, we want to go south. Up ahead should be the Citadel. The Citadel of Ganzak.
The city-state of Ganzak was a vassal of the Parthian Empire and was especially proud of having survived a Roman siege some 2 centuries ago.
But yeah, because and there's some wagons and stuff you'll see on the edges of the mountain here on both sides, left and right. But yeah, because I made my own map, I can know the city names before I get there, and that's not like a brag. It just makes it more interesting to know, like, hey, we're gonna go east to Arbela and then north to Ganzak. That means more than saying, I guess I'll just follow this river. Back through this mountain pass. This is north, so we want to go west still. Yeah, and most of my runs, it's actually the this one's my merchant. So I keep thinking like, oh, again, I pick her for what to protect my goods. So I might stop for a moment to just glance at the text choices. This is Arbela, which we had hit already. Trade that last silk, it's fine. And let's see here. I was trying to see if I could prove that we've been here, but realistically, like I probably would have brought provisions from this place because I wasn't able to do much else. But Arbela is where we started diverting ourselves to the southwest, where we eventually went to Dura Mithraeum, and I cost us a lot of days traveling with our sheep across that desert. Yeah, we're back where we are pretty much have started. We're almost there. And the game does restock its towns. It just doesn't restock other stuff, like the broken wagons, like which it does kind of make sense that they wouldn't just repopulate the world. But at the same time, it'd be nice if the animals repopulated, like the wolves and the horses. I would like to see the wolves do more. Right now, all it ever does is lower your spirit or raise your spirit, or maybe give you a little bit of food too. But it doesn't. They don't like attack you or anything, as far as I know. But maybe it's because I don't bring a lot of animals with me. Maybe if I had animals with me all the time, that they would attack. I don't know. But at the moment, they seem just like an inferior version of the bandit. The bandit gives you loot, experience, can be a threat. Wolves, they're just there. Want the spice? Oh, there's silver. Okay, so now this is okay. So now we are in Rome. The previous place we were at was Arbela, which was the Parthian Empire. One silk, just for 13 silver right now. Of course, we are affluent. We're gonna take the 4 silver too while we're at it. I'm just gonna take as much silver I can possibly get. But from what I can judge on my notes, whoops, I need to select my soldier to level him up. What I can judge from my notes, Roman Empire is great for silver, and Parthian Empire is actually a close second. There's a little under 2,000 silver in 29 different cities for the Roman Empire, and there's a little over 2,000 silver across 47 cities in the Parthian Empire. I'm just talking about like if you had to pick something where spices for Kushan or silk from the Han. Like there are places in the Han Empire that have a lot of silver. But in general, if I had to try to think of like one for each thing. No, there's some silver right there. And we still have plenty of silk. We remember that the game technically wanted us to bring 200 home. But you can use it all up before then, because there's no quest that says bring 200 to Antioch. Because the game is very static, the world hasn't really changed since we left. In Betrayal of Krondor, when you return to areas that the story requires you to go to, it has changed. Whether it's the people inside the towns or enemies patrolling the roads, it's different. I think that this game could have benefited from something like that, especially if the destiny is always going to be the same. Return to Antioch. So then it decides to populate the air with super bandits, or maybe the Parthian and Romans are at war and are more likely to attack the player. The Parthians, anyways. I was distracted because I was thinking how I was going to edit that speech out, so that way you're not hearing the same speeches every time, because we would have seen that village before, but I think I'll just leave it in. When you restart the game, all the speeches come back, which is fine. But I think for the other towns we visit, I'm going to try to stay absolutely still so that I can edit that out. Must be out of spice. There's about 3 more stops before we get to our destination. I'm counting this as one of them. How many days left we get? We have 9 days left. Remember that you can always run, not really adjacent, but towards an set watches. And if they're at the edge of the screen, then when you turn left or right, you will perfectly run into that object. I didn't happen to make it perfect at that time because I was trying to think if I was heading in the right direction. So we can get anybody to max. I've been trading with as many people as possible, but it hasn't always been her because she wants to trade silver. And the next one will be Antioch. We'll skip it for just a second and show you one more thing.
Just west of Antioch lay a lush park of woods and waters, with a temple to the oracular god Pythian Apollo, and a temple to the goddess Hecate underneath.
That's one more speech line. All right, let's take a look at our stats. We have brought back 339 silk and almost 3,000 silver. We're down to 66 horses because I got rid of a lot of them because they just kept dying during the storms, which is understandable. As far as my leader, she has incredible trade, excellent rituals, good animals, battle, and wayfare. My second in command was a drover, which is an animal specialist. She's excellent in animals, very good at trade, and good at battle and wayfare. The right giver I didn't like. She's superior in rituals, good at battle, wayfare, and as fair at animals. We'll skip him for a second. The religious guy I wanted, excellent in rituals, good at battle, fair at trade. His rituals is not as high, but imagine if we had focused all the energy into one priest instead of two. Back across to this guy. He is our Pathfinder from Parthia. Superior Wayfarer, which you probably didn't notice very many changes happening to having Superior versus a guy that just started. Good at animals, battle, ritual, and fair at trade. Our main soldier, Superior at battle, allows me to train up my rest of my team. Animals are good, so that he could catch a horse. Fair at rituals, fair at trade. And then the other soldier, backup one, excellent battle, very good at Wayfarer, good at animals, and fair at rituals. That is it. We are now the perfect traveler. Thank you very much for watching Tran Plays Silk Wilderness Adventures. I'll see you next time.